What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto leaves the leaf for a very sad reason? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description box to original creator of this beautiful creation. Hokage walks to the apartment door. He turns around to get one more look at Naruto's home, then he leaves. The next day Naruto walks to the park. On his way he sees Sasuke. He runs to Sasuke. Hey Sasuke, do you want to play hide and go seek again like yesterday? We didn't finish the game. Sasuke turns around to see Naruto running towards him. Sorry Dobi, I can't. Itachi said that he would train with me. Naruto, a little disappointed, looks at the ground sad. That's fine, I'll go see if anyone else wants to play with me. Sasuke waves goodbye and walks off. Naruto gets to the playground to see Sakura sitting on the swings. Hey Sakura. Naruto waves as he runs towards her. Do you want to play hide and go seek with me? Sakura sits there thinking. Only if Sasuke plays too. Naruto walks up to her. He said he was training with Itachi. Sakura looks up at Naruto, who is taller than her because she was sitting on the swing. Then no, I don't want to play. Naruto looks at the ground saddened. Why don't you ever want to play with me? You always play with Sasuke. Surprised at what Naruto had said, Sakura stands up. I don't like you, I like Sasuke and I only play with you because Sasuke does, so don't think that we're friends. I would never be friend with a demon. Sakura crosses her arms, now angry at Naruto. Naruto takes a step back, surprised at knowing how Sakura felt about him. But Sakura, I thought we were friends. Angered at Naruto, Sakura makes a fist. I would never be friends with a demon and I don't understand why Sasuke is even friends with you. You're so annoying, and how come he plays with you after me and Ino ask him to play with us and he says no? How can anyone be friends with a demon freak? You should just leave the village. No one likes you except for Sasuke, so just leave. No one would miss a demon freak like you. Naruto backs away with tears in his eyes. Why are you so mean, Sakura? Naruto runs out of the park crying. He keeps running until he bumps into someone. Sorry. Sobbing, Naruto runs away without seeing who he ran into. He runs straight to the Hokage mansion. He stops at the door, swiping the tears out of his eyes. He knocks on the door. No one answers. Naruto pokes his head inside. Hello Hokage. No reply. Naruto walks inside, shutting the door behind him. Hello Hokage, you here? Naruto hears some voices coming from one of the rooms in the first hallway. He walks to the door, peeking through the crack to look inside. He can hear them clearly now. He sees the third Hokage, the Leaf Council, and a couple other shinobi. CM1. Lord Third, we can't let him run around the village anymore. He is creating problems. I say we execute him. CM1 stands and bows at the third Hokage. The third stands and walks to the big window. Shinobi 1. We can't do that. He is our weapon. We can't just kill him. He belongs to this village. We should lock him up instead. Shinobi 1 stands and bows at the third. The third turns at look at everyone who is in the room. He isn't just a weapon, he is a human, not a demon. Now stop treating him like one. He is the only child of the fourth Hokage. But I agree, something must be done. Naruto's pranks have to stop now. He keeps getting in trouble. So any other ideas of what we should do with him? The third Hokage's eyes and goes to his seat and sits down. Naruto covers his mouth to stop himself from crying. Naruto runs out of the mansion, shutting the door hard, making a big boom sound when it shut. Naruto ran crying through the village. Tohi's apartment. While running he had rocks thrown at him. Naruto walks into his apartment still crying. He shuts the door behind him hard, making another big boom sound that shook the apartment, making a picture fall off the shelf where it was sitting. Naruto walks to the picture and picks it up. In the picture Naruto was smiling and hugging the third Hokage, who was smiling as well. Naruto was holding a fish that he had caught when him and the third went fishing for Naruto's 7th birthday. A couple tears fell onto the picture from Naruto's face, which had a sad smile on it. Naruto started thinking about his 7th birthday. That day had been so fun until they went back to the village. Naruto had his fish stolen from him by some villager. Naruto started getting mad. The picture at the third Hokage at the council as the villagers at the village. He hated living in the village. He got treated horribly and he never did anything. All he did was pull a couple pranks and nobody ever got hurt. Nobody. But when he would get beaten for painting mustaches on the Hokage mountain, he even cleaned up after his pranks too. He would apologize to the people he pranked. Now enraged, Naruto threw the picture across the room, hitting the wall and shattering the glass of the frame. Naruto immediately felt guilty for throwing the picture. He ran to where it was laying. He quickly tried putting it back together and crying at what he had done. Naruto picked up a piece of glass and got cut by it. He sat there looking at his bleeding finger, watching the blood slowly run down his finger, staring into the deep darkness of the blood. It was so red. As he looked into it, he started thinking about how many times he has seen that color of red. He awoke from his daze and continued picking up the pieces, putting them into his left hand. He had picked up all the pieces of glass and picture frame. He stood up and walked to the kitchen. He put the pieces in a container and walked to the front room, feeling dizzy from lack of food. He hadn't eaten that day, and he only ate once the day before, and he hadn't been drinking enough water either. He said it tasted like there was something wrong with it. Just before he reached the couch, he collapsed from lack of food and water. He blacked out. Naruto awoke in a strange dungeon-looking place. There was a cell straight across from him. He stood up and walked towards it. He stopped in front of it and looked up. There was a seal on the cage cell thing. He couldn't tell what it was. All he saw was darkness inside it. "Hello, anyone there?" Naruto stepped closer, trying to get a better look. A shadow moved towards the door. "Kit." Then the nine-tailed fox stepped out from the shadows. Naruto fell backwards, surprised and scared. He backed away quickly. "You're the nine-tailed demon. What do you want from me?" Naruto was shaking. The nine-tailed fox looked down at Naruto, who was shorter than him. The nine-tailed fox was over 100 feet tall. "Kid, I have never seen such evil people that would harm a 10-year-old just because you have me sealed inside you, and my name is Kaibui. I am sealed inside you. I am the reason that you get treated so terribly. I'm sorry." Naruto shakily stands up and looks up at Kaibui. "You're why I have to live like this. Why would someone seal you inside Mesa to make me a weapon for the village? I haven't introduced myself. I am Naruto Uzumaki." The Kaibui walks to the cell door. "Naruto Uzumaki, I can cut away the pain you feel, but it comes at a cost." Intrigued, Naruto steps a little closer to the cell door. "I'm listening, but what's the catch?" Kaibui puts his paw in the cell door, some of his fur going through the bars of the door. "In order for me to take away your pain, I have to take away your emotions too." Surprised by what the Kaibui said, Naruto stumbles back a little. My emotions, but wait, what would I have to do in order for you to take that away?" The Kaibui's eyes and looks at the ground. "You will have to leave the village, become a Rouge ninja, and only return when I say so." In shock, Naruto looks at the Kaibui as if he just told him to jump off a bridge. "If I accepted your offer, would you train me to become stronger than any ninja before?" Kaibui stared at Naruto and looked him in the eyes. "If that is what you wish, then yes, I will train you, but know this, once I take your pain and emotions, there is no going back, and when you wake up I want you to get paper and ink for the seal I'll have to put on your emotions and pain. Don't tell anyone that you had talked home, or they might try something to stop you from leaving the village, and only when you leave the village will I seal away your pain. I have to seal your emotions first so you won't get hurt by the thoughts that you will have when we're leaving. Got it?" Naruto stands there contemplating whether or not he should accept. He takes a deep breath, now knowing what he will do. "Kaibui, I accept your deal, but one thing, I want to talk to Sasuke before we leave." The Kaibui nods in agreement and goes back into the darkness, telling Naruto something before he goes in the darkness all the way. "Naruto, remember, don't tell anyone." Naruto sits up, frightened and not quite know what he has done. He stands up and goes to his room to get the paper and ink the Kaibui requested. He grabs it and sits at his desk. "Okay, now what, Kaibui?" "Draw a circle in the center of the paper." Naruto does what he was told. He draws a circle. "Now what?" "Draw 9 even lines coming from the outside of the circle to the inside but not meeting at the center. Then draw another smaller circle touching all the lines." Naruto again does what he was told. "Naruto, this part is important. Prick your finger, making it bleed, and put a drop of your blood inside the smaller circle." A little scared at what else he might have to do, Naruto shakily pricks his finger and puts a drop of his blood in the center of the smaller circle. He immediately feels nothing but pain that wasn't there before, pain of betrayal. Naruto quickly set the paper on fire. Now Naruto sets the paper on fire. His vision starts getting blurry and it's hard for him to see. 5 minutes later his vision comes back, but something is different, of strange, like as if he had just opened his eyes for the first time in his life. "Kaibui, what's going on?" Naruto stumbles to the bathroom and looks in the mirror. Naruto now had red eyes with slits, and then, like the Kaibui eyes, fascinated, he looks closer at his reflection and notices that his whisker-like markings on his face are darker and more noticeable. He looks at his hair, it had turned black. Black as darkness, the darkness that now controlled him. "Kaibui, can you make me look normal again when I go to see Sasuke?" If that is what you want, everything will look normal, but your whisker markings, they will stay the same as they are now. Be weary that to make you look normal you will feel a darkness surround your soul. Accept the darkness or your appearance won't change. Don't be afraid of the darkness, it is the effect that has on your soul and body. The seal reacts differently for different Jinchuriki. Mostly all-tailed beast put the seal on their container at some point or another in their container's childhood. Now do this hand sign and your appearance will change, but it won't stay that way for long, only 1 hour since it's the first time you will be using it. The Kaibui tells Naruto what hand sign to make. Naruto makes the hand sign and his appearance instantly changes back to normal. Time to go see Sasuke, then we are off. Naruto walks to his door and just before he leaves he takes one last look at goodbye old home. Naruto walks out the door and heads to the Uchiha mansion. As he walks down the street that leads to the mansion he notices something different. All the old shops that he used to love and feel happy seeing them, but now he didn't feel happy. Naruto Uzumaki is always happy, but now he didn't feel happy. In fact, he didn't feel anything at all, just pain and emptiness. Onlookers thought something was different about him but didn't press on about it. Naruto finally reached the Uchiha mansion. It was about 5 minutes from the edge of the village. Naruto walked to the door of the mansion, but just before he could knock, Sasuke came running out the door. Confused Sasuke looked at Naruto. Naruto, what are you doing here? Naruto looked him in the eyes. I just came to say bye and I'm moving. Now really confused Sasuke tilted his head. What do you mean you're moving, like moving houses? Naruto gulped, not wanting to lie to his friend. Yes, I'm just moving houses. He hadn't really trusted what Naruto said but decided not to ask more information. Do you still want to play? I just got done training with Itachi. Quickly coming up with a lie. No, I have to go move my stuff. I just came by to say sorry. Sasuke tilted his head more. Sorry for what? Naruto cut him off before he could finish. Oh, will you look at that, I have to go and pack. Goodbye Sasuke. Naruto hugged Sasuke and ran off. Sasuke assumed that Naruto was just being Naruto, but he was confused by the hug. Naruto ran to the edge of the village as quickly as possible. He pulled out the headband that he had stuffed in his pocket. He looked at it and said, well, Konoha, I guess this is goodbye for now until I return, if I ever return. Naruto turned around and ran into the forest that was outside the walls of the village. Naruto started reminiscing. I'm going to miss Sasuke, but I'm not going to miss this village at all. While running, Naruto put a rather large scratch over the leaf symbol on his headband and put the headband on his forehead. Kid, there is now no going back for us ever. Naruto nodded in agreement. I know Kaibui, no going back. 4 years later, in the forest that connects the Fire Nation to the Sand Nation, there was a boy standing on a tree branch upside down talking to himself, holding a map, trying to find where he was. It looked like as if he was lost and confused. Nearby a squad of 4 ninja who were lost in the forest not too far from this boy. "Ah man, I'm lost again," said the boy, who was wearing black pants that stopped just above his ankles. He had black fingerless leather gloves on that went all the way up to his elbows. Around the gloves was a red leather spiked string that went around in a crisscross pattern on the outside of the gloves. He had a mesh shirt on and he wore the mask of a fox so you couldn't see his face. He had red eyes like a demon and 3 whisker-like markings on either sides of his face, which was covered by the mask. All you could see through the mask was his eyes. The oldest of the ninja was a gray-haired old man that only showed one eye. He was a Jonin. His name was Kakashi. The 3 other ninja were Genin and were sitting on a log watching their sensei try to figure out where they are. Kakashi stopped reading the map and rose his hand to silence his students. "We are not alone," he motioned in the direction of the boy. "Follow me." He dashed off in the direction he motioned to. His students followed him, trying to stay absolutely silent. They saw the boy through the bushes they were hiding behind. The boy flipped his head around and had stopped talking to himself. He looked in the direction of the hidden ninja. He squinted behind his mask, trying to get a better look. He held his breath, knowing one of the chakras he sensed. "Come out, I know there are 4 of you hiding in the bushes. Now come out before I kill every single one of you." In Naruto's head, "Kid, come up with a new name for yourself now." "I got it, Menma," he replied. Surprised that they were so easily sensed, Kakashi signaled to the others for them to stay put. He stepped out of the bushes and into plain sight. The 3 ninjas stayed put. "I know that voice from somewhere." Sasuke thought he was one of the 3 ninjas hiding in the bushes. Naruto walked around the branch, now standing right side up, hiding his eyes, not making eye contact. Well, will you look at that? It's Kakashi Hitaki. I never thought I would see my old sensei so far out into the forest." Surprised at some mystery person knowing his name. "Who are you?" You seem familiar, do I know you? Naruto chuckled. Yes you do, but you won't recognize me, I'm one of your former students, but hey, it's been what, 4 years now, give or take. Confused Kakashi took a step closer, trying to see the mystery person's face. The only really student I had that I haven't seen in 4 years is a child named Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto avoiding Kakashi's eyes. Well, I haven't heard that name in a long time, can I call you Kakashi? Calling you sensei doesn't feel right anymore. Stunned at the eyes behind the boy in the mask and surprised at what had just said, Naruto, is that you? The three ninja in the bushes, all shocked at what their sensei had said, they all gasped. Naruto spins around on his heels once and then stops, looking Kakashi dead in the eyes. Ding ding ding, we have a winner. Did you figure that out on your own, Kakashi? I'm impressed. Kakashi, surprised at his former student's appearance. The Naruto he knew had blonde hair, no black, he had blue eyes that would brighten your day, not the red eyes of a monster. Naruto, come home, we have a new cage now, things are different. Emotion for his students to come out of the bushes. Sasuke, Sai and Sakura came out of the bushes just staring at Naruto. Naruto almost crying from laughing. Oh Kakashi, Konoha was never my home, just a cage to keep their weapon from escaping, and I'm curious, who is this now cage you speak of? Did the old man finally die of old age, or did someone kill him? Shocked by Naruto's harsh words, Sasuke shivered. Naruto, what happened to you? You used to be so nice and caring. The Naruto I knew would never talk about the third that way. Why are you acting like this? This isn't like you at all. Sasuke had wondered the day Naruto left. What happened to him? Removing his mask, revealing his face, showing his darker, more noticeable whiskers and his eyes that felt like they belonged to a monster, Naruto chuckled. Well Sasuke, the Naruto you know is dead. The village you love killed him and ate away any chance of him coming back. They killed the lovable Adio, who would always be dead last, but now that Naruto is gone, all there is me, and I don't go by Naruto anymore, I go by Menma. You see these eyes, the Yare, the eyes of a monster. The village you love created the real monster that everyone feared so much. I am the new Naruto, Menma. Saddened by what he had just heard, Kakashi lowered his head in shame. Confused, Sasuke tilts his head. What he saw now resembled Naruto, but it wasn't him anymore. What do you mean monster? What monster? All I see is my old friend, but looks like you just had a wardrobe change, Naruto. Angered by his old friend's words, Naruto clenches his fists. Kakashi, you didn't tell them, did you? Kakashi shakes his head no, still looking at the ground. A smirk grows across Naruto's face. Then you don't know that the nine-tailed demon that destroyed Konoha all those years ago is sealed inside me, you sad fool. Hey Kaibui, why don't you say hi and come out? You can personally meet them. A demonic voice is heard. Kit, that is the best idea you've had in weeks. The earth starts shaking and a bright light is seen, blinding everyone. The nine-tailed fox appears beside Naruto. Compared to Naruto, the fox is huge. Everyone can see again, and they are shocked at what they see. Kit, can I go play? I haven't played since we destroyed that village, please. The Kaibui says, eagerly waging all of his tails. Naruto looks sternly at the fox. No, you cannot, they can't die just yet, the plan is still in motion. Kakashi steps in front of his students, who cower in fear behind him. Naruto, Menma, you were the one that destroyed that village, but why and what plan? What are you planning to do? Why won't you come home? Konoha won't hold anything against you. If you come back, just put away the Kaibui and we can talk. Naruto and the Kaibui start laughing like crazy people. Naruto wipes a tear from his eye. Haha, funny Kakashi, I almost believed you for a second there, but I'm not returning until I'm done. Sadly, we have to go, I have people to see and things, Todo, but don't worry, we will meet again. I'd say 2 years maybe. Oh well, it was nice, but yet not nice talking to you again. Come on Kaibui, we have to go find her. The Kaibui nods and they disappear in a poof of smoke. Stunned by what Naruto said, Kakashi turns to his students. We have to get back now and tell Lady Fifth about what happened. Sasuke, are you okay? Sasuke was thinking about what Naruto had said and not paying attention. What did you say, Kakashi? 1 month later, Menma was walking up to an old house in the middle of nowhere. It had a green roof and the walls were a dark brown that matched the trees that surrounded it. It had a lime green door and the windows had a dark tint so you couldn't see inside. Kit, I have an idea. Before we knock, let me out. She will remember me. She most likely won't remember you. Sorry, I know you're drained and tired from trying to find her, but still just let me out and hide. If anything happens, I'll tell you telepathically, okay? Naruto nods but is concerned about his chakra level. It got low when he let the Kaibui out to talk to the Leaf Ninja. Okay, ready? Naruto does a hand sign. Thekabui comes out and Naruto passes out from exhaustion. The Kaibui picks him up and puts him on his back. Naruto curled up into a little ball feeling Thekibi's warmth. The fox had grown attached to Naruto and Nu considers him an equal, maybe even a comrade. The Kaibui walks into the clearing where the house is located. The giant fox's red coat stands out against the green of the forest and grass. He walks right up to the white picket fence that surrounds the house. In a quiet voice, not trying to wake Naruto, "Kushina, come out, it's me." The door opens and a woman walks out. She has long red hair. She was wearing a green dress that went down to her ankles. She had a white short-sleeved shirt on. Under it she had bunny slippers on. It looked like she was cooking. "Kaibui, I thought you were sealed away in my son 14 years ago. Why are you here and how did you find me? What's going on? Tell me now." The Kaibui gently lifts Naruto off his back and puts the boy on the ground, being careful not to wake him. "He is alive, don't worry. I'd like to introduce you to Menma Uzumaki, your son. He passed out after using too much chakra. I brought him here because he wanted to meet his parents. I told him what happened to his father. I have grown quite attached to this boy. He has suffered so much hatred from the village and dealing with the constant abuse from the villagers and the shinobi from the leaf. We left the village 4 years ago, but 3 years ago we started looking for you." Kushina was surprised at what the Kaibui had said. She walked over to Naruto, who was on the ground sleeping. She crouched down next to the sleeping boy. She put her hand on his forehead. He had a temperature. She was amazed that the boy the Kaibui brought looks just like Naruto. "You said that this is Menma, right? Where's Naruto? Where's my baby? This isn't my son." Ticked at the fact that Kushina didn't recognize her own son, he changed his appearance and name when we sealed away his emotions and pain. Looking closely at his whiskers and his face, she realized it was her son. It was Naruto. "Can you lift the seal? He won't feel pain here. I want him to be happy. If he left the leaf, then now he has nowhere to go. You two will now be living with me. We are family." 2 years later. "Hey Kaibui, do you think they'll kill me for coming back?" Naruto asked curiously as he jumped from tree to tree. Naruto was now 5.11. He still had his black hair and leather gloves that he wore all the time, never taking them off. He was wearing a long black cloak that had the Uzumaki symbol on it. Under that he was wearing black pants that went down to his ankles. He was wearing a new black mesh shirt. He had his hood up and was wearing the fox mask he had from 6 years ago covering his face. The mask had scratches and random splotches of blood on it. He was headed back to the leaf Konoha for the first time in 6 years. Naruto was now 16 and had a muscular build. He had grown tough over the years being away. "Menma, those shinobi said that you'd be welcomed back, and if you're not him we could just destroy the village. Besides, the new plan will work. Just try to be friendly and don't scare anyone that looks like a leaf shinobi off. Got it?" Naruto nodded his head, understanding what he had to do. Off in the distance, not too far away, a team of 4 shinobi approached. Not knowing that he was close by, they were walking on a path back to Konoha after finishing a mission. Naruto saw them. He appeared in front of them, startling them. The oldest of the 4 moved in front of his students. It was Team 7 or Team Kakashi. Sasuke was behind Kakashi but in front of Sakura and next to Sai, who was also in front of Sakura. Kakashi instantly realized who it was. He grabbed his kunai from his weapons pouch and aimed it at Naruto. "Menma, why are you here? Are you coming back to the leaf? My offer still stands, you know." Naruto chuckled. "Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm here to destroy the leaf." Naruto bends over, laughing so hard he starts crying. "I'm kidding, Kakashi. I was on my way to my next victim." Kakashi looked Naruto up and down. He noticed that Naruto got taller and looks more mature. "Menma, come back willingly or we will take you by force. Now which is it?" Naruto stood there thinking. I think that you're going to have to take me by force if you want me back at that village." Kakashi disappeared and reappeared behind Naruto holding a kunai to his throat. "Come back now," tightening his grip on the kunai. Naruto rose both of his hands up in the air. "Fine, I give, I'll come back." Kakashi lowered the kunai but handcuffed Naruto. "Sorry, it's just a precaution. I hope you understand." Naruto nods. "Hey Kakashi, who's going to walk me back in?" Confused, Kakashi tilted his head. "What do you mean, me? Of course." Naruto smirks. "If I can make a request, can that guy standing next to Sasuke walk me back? You're just grumpy and Sasuke, well, as Sasuke, don't even get me started on Sakura." Surprised by Naruto's attitude, Kakashi motioned for Sai to take Naruto. "If that would make you happy." Sai walked over and tied a rope to Naruto's handcuffs, making sure that he wouldn't get away. "Hello Naruto, I am Sai." He smiled, the fake smile he always gives. They head back to Konoha, Sakura and Sasuke walking ahead of everyone, Naruto and Sai behind them and Kakashi at the back. It took them 3 days to get to Konoha. When they arrived at the gates, the guards were staring at them, interested in who the mystery person is. A guard waves to Kakashi. "Hi guys, back from another successful mission." The guard smiled. "Hey, who's that you have with you? Is he or she a visitor? Why are they in cuffs? What happened?" Kakashi looked at the guard who was talking to them. "He's from an old mission." Kakashi put one finger to his mouth, making the shish motion. Sai happily walking next to Naruto. "His name is Nar." He was cut off. "My name is Menma, nice to meet you," Naruto said, trying to keep his identity a secret. They continued walking into the village through the flowing streets. Kakashi looked at Sakura and Sasuke. "Why don't you two go home? We had a long mission. Me and Sai can take care of this." Sasuke turned around to face Kakashi. "I'm not leaving until he is dealt with." He had a stern look on his face. "Well, I have to go home, so I'll see you guys later. Bye, Sasuke-kun." Sakura skipped off, happy to be back. The four of them headed to the Hokage's mansion. There was a knock on the office door. "Come in," the fifth said grumpily, doing paperwork. Kakashi entered, followed by Sasuke, Sai, and a boy she had never seen before. "Lady Tsunade, we are back from our mission and we brought someone very special back with us." Tsunade stood up and walked around her desk, and sitting on the couch that was in her office he motioned for everyone to sit. "Who is he?" "Kakashi and stranger, remove your mask and hood now." Naruto removed his hood but not his mask, his hands were still cuffed. Everyone sat down on the couch and chairs opposite from Tsunade. Kakashi stayed standing. "Fifth, this is Naruto Uzumaki, we have brought him back." Tsunade looked at Naruto, who was staring angrily at Kakashi. "Naruto, you have a choice. You can either join the village again, or but put in jail. Those are your options. Now which do you pick?" "And I said take your mask off now, take it off now," Tsunade said demandingly. "Well, Granny, can I call you Granny? I think my best option is to rejoin the village, and I don't want you to see the monster that I am, so I would rather not take the mask off." Naruto leaned back against the back of the couch, getting comfortable. Tsunade walked over to Naruto and removed his mask, startled by his appearance. "What are?" Kakashi uncuff him. Kakashi uncuffed Naruto, doing as he is told. Everyone stared at Naruto, looking at his face. Naruto's eyes were glowing bright blood red. He had a scar on his left cheek. "Hey, I said I was a monster. I should specify I hold the 9 tails demon fox, and if you'd like I could change what I look like so I'm not so scared if you want." Tsunade nodded, frozen in fear from seeing Naruto's eyes. They reminded her of the kaibui. "Please do, Naruto." Naruto does a hand sign, changing his appearance back to the one he had as a kid. He didn't like the feeling of looking like his old self. "Hey Granny, would it be fine if I just change my eyes color? I prefer how I looked before." Tsunade nodded, happy that Naruto was being cooperative with them. "So Naruto, we should probably assess your skills so we can know where to place you in this village." Annoyed that no one was calling him by his new preferred name. "Granny, not to be rude, but I hate it when people call me Naruto. My name now is Menma. I would like it if everyone would call me that. Now I have done things under the name Naruto and I wouldn't want to ruin this village's reputation." Tsunade understanding nodded. "Thank you Menma for informing me. Have you come up with a new last name so I can just make it look like you're a new shinobi that just moved here?" Thinking, "No, I still go by Uzumaki, but not many people have heard of the name, so you're fine. And where would I be living anyways?" Tsunade walks over to her desk, looking through the papers. She lifts one up. "Well, you can still live at your old apartment or you can live at the Uzumaki mansion." Surprised at finding out that his family used to have a mansion. "I think alive at the mansion. Oh, and I need a shinobi headband. I kind of destroyed my old one." Tsunade shakes her head. "Okay, you can have a new headband and will be living at the Uzumaki mansion in 1 month. We will test you to see how strong you are." Sasuke chuckled. "Don't worry, he's not too strong, Tsunade." Naruto quickly turned around to look at Sasuke. He does an unnoticed hand sigh and puts Sasuke in Naruto's mind. Sasuke walks into the giant room and sees the kaibui below him as Naruto standing on a pile of dead bodies. He looks at Sasuke and tells him not to make him mad or he will join the pile. Sasuke jumps. He is out of Naruto's mind. Sasuke falls to the floor, looking at Naruto scared. Naruto smirks. "Sasuke, what's wrong? You look scared." Sasuke just looks at him. It's nothing, I'm fine, I just saw a spider." He stands up and walks to the door. "I think I'm going to go home, I'm tired." Sasuke, "I don't want anyone to know you saw me. If anyone asks, Naruto is dead, got it?" Naruto looks at him and flashes his red eyes at Sasuke, then they go back to blue, a dull silver-ish blue. Sasuke nods and leaves, shutting the door behind him. Tsunade, I want any reminisce of Naruto Uzumaki gone and wiped clean. If anyone asks, tell them that he died after he left the village. Naruto looks Tsunade dead in the eyes in a threatening way. She nods. Okay, now you should leave, I have the Kazakage coming, we have a meeting about a treaty between the villages. Naruto looks at her and tilts his head. Oh, you mean Gaara of the desert? Everyone looks at him shocked. You know him? Sai says, intrigued. Naruto nods and stands up. I should probably head to my new home, it's getting late, I'll see you all tomorrow, goodbye. He bows and walks to the door, opening it to find Shikamaru leading Gaara in the office. Gaara looks up to see Naruto standing in front of him. Hey Menma, what's up, didn't know you'd be here, are you joining Konoha? Naruto nods. Yeah, I am actually, and I assume you're here on cage duties, right? Gaara nodded. Yeah, I am. Naruto walked out the door, stopping next to Gaara. When you're done here, come find me, I need to talk to you about something important, Naruto whispered quietly so no one else could hear. Gaara nodded, having some idea of what Naruto wanted to talk about. Naruto turned and looked back into Tsunade's office. Sai, come with me, I want to talk to you. Sai stood up from where he was sitting and followed Naruto. Naruto put his mask back on and pulled up his hood so no one could see his face or hair. He started walking silently to the Uzumaki mansion, which was about 15 minutes walk from the Hokage mansion office. Naruto and Sai had been walking in silence for 5 minutes before Naruto finally spoke. Naruto turned his head so he could look at Sai as they walked. You're probably wondering why I asked you to come with me and what I wanted to speak to you about. Sai looked at him, wondering what he was getting at. I am rather curious as to why. They didn't say another thing until they got to the mansion. It was an old building made of cement bricks. It had vines and other various plants growing on the walls of the mansion. It had a flat roof and a dark wooden door in the yard. There were wild flowers and herbs leading up to the mansion from the giant hedge fence with a hedge archway that you had to walk under. Everything was overgrown. There was a stone path leading up from the hedge fence. Naruto and Sai walked under the hedge arch, ducking under the overgrown branches. They walked up to the door. Naruto was in front of Sai. There was something carved into the wood of the door, but dust was covering it. Naruto wiped away some of the dust, reading what was carved into the door. His eyes widened. He wiped more of the dust away, seeing all that was written on the door. Sai looked over Naruto's shoulder, reading what was written. It said, Uzumaki Residence 4th Hokage, Kushina Uzumaki and baby Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto started to get angry at what was carved on the door. His nails got long and sharp. He grew fangs that were sharp and long, but not as long as a dog's. Naruto lifted up his hand and started scratching the door, trying to scratch out the names right left. He scratched over and over again until his nails got dull and his fingers started to bleed, but he didn't stop scratching, he just continued. Sai, concerned at what Naruto was doing, noticed that Naruto's finger were bleeding. He shook Naruto. Menma, stop your bleeding, stop it Menma. Naruto stopped scratching, letting his hands fall as a tear fell from his eyes running down his face. He lifted his hand once more to scratch into the now bloody wood the name Menma, letting his hand fall again. He opened the door. Everything was dusty and covered in white sheets. He walked inside, Sai closely following him. Naruto walked over to the couch that was covered by a sheet. He pulled the sheet of making dust fly everywhere. He continued to pull the sheets off the furniture in the living room. The couch had a red and yellow pattern of spirals. The coffee table was a white wooded table with a glass top. The chair that was on the other side of the table was orange with the Uzumaki symbol on it. The living room had books and papers everywhere. There was a fireplace with a scroll hanging above it. On the scroll read, "Family is more important than anything in this world, and losing it would mean losing my world, from Minato to Kushina." Naruto walked over to the scroll and pulled it off the wall. On his way to the fireplace, he scratched the Uzumaki symbol on the chair. He rolled up the scroll and gripped it tight, getting blood from his fingers on it. He walked over to an open chest on the bookshelf and placed the scroll inside, shutting the chest. Naruto went and sat down in the orange, motioning for Sai to sit on the couch. Sai went and sat down on the couch and looking around the room for a couple seconds, examining it closely. Menma, do you have any surviving family? Naruto stood up and walked to the coat rack that was by the door, taking his cloak and mask off, setting it gently on the rack. Naruto walked back, sitting down in the orange chair again. His eyes were red again. They had turned back when he was having his scratching fit. He looked Sai in the eyes. No, not anymore, they're all dead. Sai smiled his fake smile. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Menma. I bet they were good people. Naruto began to get a little angry. I know you can't feel emotions now, quit smiling. Sai instantly stopped smiling. So you knew. Naruto calmed down, trying to be civil. Yeah, I knew, and I wanted to show you something. Sasuke nearly peed himself when he saw, but I have a feeling that you won't since you don't have a reaction to fear. Naruto pulled Sai into a genjutsu so that Sai could see the kaibui. In the genjutsu they were in a large room where the kaibui was out of his cell and talking to Naruto, just looking at Sai. The kaibui walked up to Sai. So you are the emotionless human Naruto speaks of. Well then, looks like you two are going to be great friends. The kaibui bellowed in his normal demonic voice. He turned around and looked at Naruto. Kid, it's almost time for it again. It's going to happen within the week, and this time I won't be able to help you. Naruto nodded and took them out of the genjutsu. They were sitting in their original spots. Sai looked at Naruto questioningly. So that is your real name? I have a question. What did the fox mean by it's almost time? Almost time for what? Naruto took a deep breath and sighed. Well, every year or so I have to turn my emotions on at least once, and or else I'll explode in horrible rage, and it's not pretty. All the emotions that I haven't felt for 2 years are all bottled up. All the sadness, happiness, and other emotions except anger have been sealed away, but that seal is going to break. It doesn't last long, but for 1 week if I come in contact with anyone that I don't trust or know, I go into a blind rage fit and kill them. But I would assume Monday to Friday is how long I will have my emotions on for. I would like you to inform the Hokage of this. Once it starts I will only be able to see you and the cage of the sand. Anyone else I will kill. Sai sat up concerned. But Menma, you start school on Monday. Even the cage of the sand is going to be joining us in his village. They don't have a high school that is educated enough for him apparently. What are we going to do? You have to come to school. Naruto sat there thinking. Well, I could try to put my emotions off until Friday, but there's a chance that they will turn on by themselves if I get mad, but it is still dangerous. Sai nodded. Well then, Menma, we will have to take that chance. Tomorrow before school we will go to the Hokage and tell her about what you've told me. Naruto nodded. But we are not going to tell her about Kaibui. If she found out that you met him we would both be in trouble. Sai nodded, standing up. It's getting late, I should probably go home. Naruto nodded as Sai walked to the door and left. Gaara soon came after Sai left. Naruto and Gaara were sitting in the living room. Naruto sat up, fixing his posture. Well, I guess it's going to happen then. He had just got done telling Gaara about the emotions thing. Gaara nodded. Good thing Lady Hokage said I could stay with you while I'm going to high school. Naruto gave a fake happy smile. Yep, it will be like when I won the fight against you and you let me stay in the sand. Man, you were a brat back then, so annoying. Hey, Gaara said offensively. Naruto gave his fake laugh he had developed to sound like he was happy. We should probably go and get something to eat before it gets too dark out and everything closes. Yeah, we probably should. Hey, I know this great ramen place here. What do you say to ramen, or do you want to go somewhere else? Gaara said as his stomach growled hungrily. Naruto chuckled. Okay, ramen it is, he said as his stomach growled in anticipation. They had just finished as Naruto slurped down the last of his noodles, licking his lips, stomach full and happy. Menma? Gaara asked. Do you think that if I sealed away my emotions I'd be happier? Naruto shot his head up, surprised at his friend. What do you mean? Gaara had a sad look on his face. I mean, do you think it would be easier for me to live, a normal life like you? Naruto winced as the words stung his ears. Gaara, don't trust me, I did it because if I hadn't then I would have gone crazy and murdered someone. I mean, I still did, but now I don't feel a specific type of pain which made me stronger but weak also. Gaara looked up at Naruto, saddened at his word and how they made him feel. He started thinking about what pain Naruto felt. Gaara didn't quite understand pain. All Gaara felt was sadness and guilt, and the only pain he has felt was that of betrayal. Menma, what pain made you seal it away? Naruto almost choked on his drink as he was taking a sip, spitting it everywhere. Gaara, let's have this talk somewhere else and not in public. Gaara nodded, understanding what he meant. They arrived at home and were unpacking Gaara's thing, getting everything situated. Naruto finally spoke. They had been sitting in silence for quite some time now. Gaara, I'm not who you think I am. Gaara tilted his head, not understanding. What do you mean? Naruto took a deep breath and sighed loudly. My real name is Naruto Uzumaki and I am the nine-tailed Jinchuriki, and this isn't what I really look like either. Gaara's eyes widened. Well then, Naruto, what do you look like then? I assume that when you turn your emotions on this Friday that you will look different than this, am I correct? Naruto nodded. Yes you are, and please only call me Menma. I changed my name long ago when I left this village. If you want I'll show you what I originally looked like. Gaara nodded, wanting to know. Naruto did a hand sigh showing what he looked like before they met. Well, what do you think? Gaara's mouth hung open in shock. You look a lot less scary, you don't even scare me now. Naruto released the just you turning back to his scary self. I think we should get some sleep now, it's getting late and we sadly have school tomorrow. Naruto stood up and walked to the door. Good night, Gaara. Good night, Menma. Naruto left and went to his own room to go to sleep. Beep beep beep, the alarm went off in the kitchen. Gaara stumbled out of bed to the smell of pancakes and burnt bacon. Gaara walked into the kitchen to see Naruto trying to shut off the smoke alarm. Morning, Gaara said, surprising Naruto. Naruto finally shut off the smoke alarm. Oh, good morning, Gaara, sleep well? Gaara nodded. Yes, actually I did. Naruto started setting the table. That's good to hear. Gaara helped him set the table. And you, how did you sleep? Surprised that someone cared. Oh well, I don't sleep ever, I haven't in 6 years. Amazed that he was still standing. What, seriously, 6 years? Naruto nodded, getting the food and setting it on the table, then sitting down. If I do, the seal will break. They sat and ate breakfast in silence before heading to school, meeting up with Sai on the way. So Menma, are you nervous? First day of school? Sai said, giving his fake smile. No, but if I sit next to you two then I'll be fine. Let's just hope I get through the day without killing anyone. Gaara chuckled. But if you do end up killing anyone, let's hope it's the math teacher, man, I hate math. Sai smiled at Gaara joke. Naruto looked at them sternly. Do you really want me to go on a rampage? They reached the school in time just when the first bell rang. Gaara walked into class, Sai following closely behind them. Whispers were heard all around. Look, it's the demon cage, let's hope he doesn't have to sit next to us. Gaara hung his head, saddened by the cruel whispers. Kakashi walked in late. Hello students, I will be your homeroom teacher. Now let's start off by introducing 2 new students. Sai, why you are late? Sai went to his seat, it was next to Ino. Sorry, I had to show them where school was. Kakashi looked at Gaara. Students, this is Gaara of the desert and… Wait, Gaara, where is he? Gaara looked out the window. Out there someone called his cloak ugly. Everyone in the class went to the window trying to see what was going on outside. Naruto was standing there looking at Kiba, who was on the ground just staring at Naruto, and Naruto had put him in a genjutsu and was showing him the pile of bodies. He took him out of the jutsu. Kiba was whining like a dog in pain and scared. Naruto then appeared in the classroom. He sat at the teacher's desk. What's everyone looking out the window at? Everyone jumped and quickly went to their seats, scared at what Naruto might do next. Kakashi went to Naruto, looking at him like he had done something. Class, this is Menma, he will be joining us also now. Menma, will you please sit next to Sasuke and Gaara? Any questions? Someone rose their hand. Menma, why do you wear that mask, and isn't there a rule about hoods? Kakashi looked at Naruto. You must remove the hood, but you may keep wearing the mask if you want. Naruto stood up and went to the front of the class. I wear the mask because I was told by Granny Tsunade to keep it on, I might scare people. The mystery person now curious. Will you please show us? Naruto turned to look at Kakashi. Well, okay then, but I warned you. Naruto moves the hood off his head, then slowly taking off his mask to reveal his eyes that wouldn't change back to blue but stayed a constant red color. Happy now. The whole class gasped. Naruto put his mask back on. Well, I told you. Naruto went to his seat next to Sasuke, making a loud thud as he sat down, which made Sasuke jump. Scared, Naruto smirked. The class ended and it was lunch. Naruto, Gaara and Sai were walking to the lunchroom when a bunch of girls came up to them. So you're Menma? I guess I expected more of a man than a wimp. One of the girls said, chewing bubblegum and blowing a bubble. Yeah, I know, right? Like seriously, right, Hinata? She bumped the girl next to her. The girl started shaking. Why, yeah, why, you're all right. She was shy. Naruto's mask shattered in rage and anger. Gaara, grab him now, Sai said, trying to stop Naruto from killing the girls that screamed and ran away, holding onto him for dear life. Gaara used his sand to put Naruto in a cage and stop him from hurting anyone. They went outside as Gaara let Naruto out of the sand cage as Naruto started slashing at Gaara. This was the rage fit he had warned them about. All of Naruto's emotions exploded. He was developed in the Kaibi's chakra cloak. He got one tail. Everyone in the school rushed out trying to get away as Naruto grabbed Gaara's arm, the chakra cloak burning his skin. Naruto flipped him on his back, making a big woof sound as all the air left Gaara's body. He got up and ran to the Hokage's mansion as Naruto was chasing him. Naruto now had grown two tails, running faster after Gaara. Gaara ran faster until he reached the mansion. He ran through the doors and shot it behind him. He locked the big metal doors and ran for the office. He burst through the door. Hokage, he has two tail and he is in his rage fit. Tsunade stood up, running out of her office to the door. She ripped it open when Naruto jumped on her, knocking her over. His fangs were long and sharp now. Naruto growled at her. Tsunade, I am the Kaibui speaking through Kit. Whatever he does, don't blame him. He is blind with rage and anger. You must remove his emotion seal and the pain seal. If you don't, then he will continue on like this. But when you do, hold him and comfort him, for he is weak and lonely. Help him please. He won't last much longer. The seals that he forced me to put on his eat away at one's sanity and soul. Tsunade's eyes widened in shock. She immediately punched Naruto in the face as hard as she could, knocking him out. He still had his tail, but he was slowly getting a third. She picked up Naruto and ran quickly to the Uzumaki mansion. Before she left, she ordered Anbu to surround and guard this place and only let Gaara and a few others. He reached Naruto's mansion. She kicked the door open and put him on the table, throwing everything that was on it on the floor. She removed Naruto's clothes so she could find the seal. It was on his stomach. Naruto started to wake up, and if he wasn't mad before, he was now. Tsunade had to chain him down so he wouldn't get free. Sakura came running. Tsunade, you called? What happening? Why is he like this? Tsunade pulled Sakura close. Sakura, I need you to hold him down. This is going to hurt him a lot, and when he wakes up after I remove the seal, I need you to remind him that he's fine. Got it? Sakura nodded, moving to Naruto's head, holding him down. Tsunade put chakra in her hands and started undoing the seal, working quickly to remove it. She had just gotten past the first part of the 9-point seal. She was removing the pain seal. She had gotten to the 8th part of the seal. Naruto started crying and screaming. Ah, stop. Stop, it hurts. Stop, please don't remove it. Stoop. Naruto passed out from the pain. Tsunade, check his pulse. I think he's dying. What's going on? Sakura was freaking out. Tsunade checked his pulse. It was getting weak. She finished the pain seal, then she started working on the emotion seal. Naruto started screaming. Even though he was passed out, the pain was unimaginable. All of a sudden he stopped screaming and breathing. Tsunade, he's not breathing, please hurry. Tsunade finished removing the last part of the seal when all of a sudden Naruto's heart stopped. Tsunade, you have 10 seconds before he's dead. Tsunade started compressions, trying to get his heart to start again. 5. Naruto took a giant gasp of air. His heart started beating again, but Naruto now was in a lot of mental pain. He couldn't stop crying and shaking. His appearance changed back to its original. Ino came running through the door. You called Tsunade? Yes, check his mental now. Tsunade moved Sakura aside and was holding Naruto, who was coming in and out of consciousness. Ino makes a hand sigh and goes into Naruto's mind. Ino walks around in a giant room. She hears crying coming from a little boy. She walks up to him. Little boy, are you okay? Little boy. Naruto ran to her and hugged her. He was covered in blood. They killed her. They killed her. He started crying really hard. She crouched down to look him in the eyes. What happened? Who killed? Who is that? Your blood? Naruto nodded. No, it's not, sir, but they killed my mom. They killed her. Sir, what do you? Ino heard another voice. Don't worry, son, I'm here. Daddy's here. Ino turned around to see the 4th Hokage standing there holding Naruto in his arms. It's the 4th. Oh my. Don't worry, my child, no one will hurt you now. I'll protect you. A tear fell from the 4th's eye. Ino backed away. What's going on? Is this a memory? Naruto started crying harder. But I just found you too, and mommy was taken from me. The 4th looked down at his son. Now Naruto, I'm right here. Don't cry, you'll see your mother again someday. Okay, now wipe those tears away. How old are you now? Naruto stopped crying. 14, but she is still gone. I don't want to lose you to daddy. The 4th smiled. I'm right here. I know that me and your mother haven't been there for you when you were growing up and that your mom's gone now, but I'm still here. The room changes and not Naruto stands there in a bloody field full of dead bodies. He stand above on yellow-haired dead man. Naruto's looked like he had just fought a battle. He was covered in blood. A single tear falls from Naruto's eye. You said you wouldn't leave me, but where are you now, Dad? Where are you now when I need you the most? Ino had fallen to her knees in shock of what had happened. Naruto changed his appearance back to the scary one, putting a mask on over his face. Now Naruto walked away sad. The scene changed again. It showed him walking through a village, people calling him a monster and people beating him, and he didn't fight back. He just stayed there crying underneath his mask, but no one saw him cry. The scene changes again, but now it was just him and Ino standing in a giant room with a table in it, nothing else but what was on the table. On the table there was a gun, handcuffs and a Leaf Village headband covered in blood. Ino walked over to Naruto, but before she could reach him he picked up the gun and the headband. He put the headband on, crossing out the leaf symbol with a knife he pulled out of his pocket. He held the knife in his hands looking at the gun and the knife. Naruto, what are you doing? Put the gun and the knife down. All of a sudden there was a deep rumble. The nine-tailed fox ran out of the shadows. He jumped on Naruto, knocking the gun and knife out of his hands. Kid, stop, I know you're dying inside, but that doesn't mean you need to actually die. Now listen to me, we are going to head back to Konoha right now, and then you are going to make some friends that understand your pain, got it? And if you don't, so help me, I will kill you myself. Now let's lock up your emotions again so you don't try this a second time. The Kaibui got of Naruto and made a hand sigh and put his paw on Naruto's stomach. Naruto started screaming out in pain. The second seal would be the worst out of them all. It hurt so bad that it felt like as if you were dying. Ino stood there on the verge of tears. The scene changed again, but now Naruto was in chains attached to the Kaibui. Naruto fell to the floor crying. I'm not the monster he is. Why can't you people see that I'm only human? I can only take so much pain. Let me go, please. Can't you see that I'm already broken? I can't do anything. It's impossible. A dead person can't hurt another person. Can't you see, you stupid village and villagers? You killed Naruto Uzumaki and you made a monster Menma Uzumaki. Are you happy now? Are you happy you killed an innocent child? How well are you? I hate everyone here. I hate the third. I hate the council. I hate this village. I hate what you've turned me into. I hate being alive, and it's all because of a stupid village that was too ignorant to see what they were doing to an innocent kid. The village made the monster I am now, so why don't you just kill me? Kill the monster you made. Kill me. Ino couldn't take it anymore. She undid the mind jutsu. She was on the floor crying at what she just saw, all the pain and suffering Naruto went through just to turn out like this. Lady Tsunade, he's dead inside and broken. It's horrible. Tsunade helped Ino stand up. What did you see exactly? Ino explains to Tsunade what happened and why she felt bad for Naruto, who is now in a coma and has been for 3 weeks now. People from the village have come by to his hospital room to see him, apologize to him. Even though he was in a coma, he could still hear them when they came into in room. The Kaibui would take over Naruto's body when people do come who's know Naruto personally. Tamari walked into Naruto's hospital room. She stands beside him. Hey Menma, I don't know if you can hear me, but everyone really misses you. I know that you're hurting, but we are here for you. Lady Tsunade threw out all the council members and elected new ones that we can trust, everyone can trust. Gaara has been really worried about you. He hasn't been able to come by because of cage duties, but he is really worried about you. We all are. I know I don't have any right to say that I understand what you're going through, but you like family to me, and family is always there for each other no matter what is going on. I am here for you, so please come back to us. I still don't know if you are hearing what I'm saying, but please come back, please Menma, please. Tamari started crying and left the room. Naruto's heart monitor goes off. His heart stopped beating. It has been doing this since he first got in the coma, going off and on, off and on. The nurse ran into his room and called for the doctor, saying that they need Tsunade. Soon after that his heart went back to normal, but he was in critical condition and his health keeps getting worse. The doctors say it's as if he has given up on life and doesn't want to continue living anymore. Tsunade came into Naruto's room. She stood at the foot of the bed. Kaibui, I need to talk to you, she stated in a whisper-like voice. Yes, what is it? He stated quietly so that no one but her would hear. Tsunade picked up the medical clipboard at the foot of Naruto's bed. Kaibui, he is going to die soon. You need to show him that there is still more to live for. He needs to come out of the coma now. The hospital is giving him 2 more weeks to live, and if he doesn't come out of the coma by then his body will shut down and he will be dead. Got it, so get him out of the coma. The Kaibui understood and nodded in Naruto's bod, which he was in control of at the moment. Understood, I will try my best, but it's hard to convince a dead soul to come back to life. I will bring him back though. The room fell silent. The only sound was of the machine Naruto was attached to. Naruto began to stir. The Kaibui had indeed brought him back to life, but it was a life that Naruto no longer wanted anymore. His appearance changed to the scary, depressing one, the one without emotion. Naruto opened his eyes and looked around, trying to understand where he was and what he was doing there. Tsunade, Naruto said, sitting up and propping himself against the pillow behind him. Tsunade quickly ran beside Naruto and hugged him. You're okay, everything is okay now, what do you remember? Naruto scratched his head, confused. What do you mean, where am I, what am I doing here, what's going on? Naruto started to panic. Tsunade patted his head. Calm down, you're in the hospital, you've been in a coma for 3 weeks. Now calm but still confused. So you guys caught me after 4 years. Did I pass out after I showed Team 7 the kaibui? Surprised, Tsunade took a step back. No, after 6 years we caught you and brought you back. You really can remember that? Naruto tilted his head. No, 4 years and I can't remember anything else. You are Tsunade, right? The new Hokage. I've never met you before. Tsunade put her hands to her mouth. Menma, may I please talk to Kaibui? Naruto's eyes went red, full red. You called. Did you erase his memory? He nodded. Yes, I had to give him a fake one so that he doesn't have to remember the pain of losing his parents or the pain this village put him through. If you like, I can alter it so that he remembers getting caught by you guys, and that when you caught him you put him in a coma by using a very powerful jutsu that knocked him out. Tsunade nodded. I would like that very much so, but when did his parents die? They died 2 years ago, not too long after Naruto saw his old team. Tsunade stood up straight. Well then, that is very sad. Would you now please fix his memory so that he will listen to me, and please give him his emotions as well? As you wish, Lady Fifth. The Kaibui fixed Naruto's memory, altering it and giving his emotions back. Naruto slouched back into his hospital bed, closing his eyes, going back into a coma-like state. Several minutes later, Naruto sat up screaming. Alarmed, Tsunade grabbed Naruto, trying to get him to stop screaming. Menma, calm down, you're fine. Naruto stopped screaming. Tsunade, what happened to the third? What's this feeling in my stomach that I have? Why are my emotions back? I thought I sealed them away. Why did you do this? Why? Tsunade took a deep breath. Menma, after we caught you we knocked you out using a very powerful jutsu. Now we saw that you had an emotion seal on you, so I undid it. You still look the same, but your emotions are back, so no one's who you really are. Would you like to go to school? I know that now is not the time to think about it, but you must go to school. So would you like to, or would you rather be locked up in prison? Naruto sat there thinking. I think I'll go to school. Tsunade nodded and walked out of the room. She had erased everyone's memories and altered them so no one remembered what happened, and no one would know who Naruto is or Menma. Everyone but Team 7 had their memories erased. They just had theirs altered. Now no one in the village knew who Menma is, or was they just know that they are getting a new person to live there, and that's all. Temari and Gaara were told to never speak about what happened or Naruto might have a relapse of everything. Naruto was discharged from the hospital 3 days later and was escorted to his mansion. The Hokage ordered Anbu to watch Naruto and remove anything that might trigger him to be removed from Naruto's place, except for a few items were removed. To Naruto, who was being escorted home by Kakashi. Naruto walked in front of him, trying to ignore that he was being escorted home like a criminal. Hey Kakashi, what's my rank on the ninja scale? Curious, Kakashi caught up to Naruto walking beside him. Well, in school that will have to be found out. We will have to test you to see where you stand, but I have a feeling that you'll be put in Junin or Special Junin, which is where I stand, but still we will have to see. But Tsunade has requested that you don't take part in the test for special reasons, so she has set up the day that you go to school, that you skip gym and go to her in her office where you will be tested. Does that answer your question? Naruto nodded, understanding. Yes, thank you. And do you know who I am? Kakashi nodded. No, I do not know who you are. You're just a person moving into the village, right? All I know is that my team was sent to retrieve you, but we knocked you out in order to bring you back. What is your name? Naruto looked him dead in the eyes. My name is Menma Uzumaki and I have just moved here under special orders. Kakashi froze when he saw Naruto's eyes. They were filled with hate, pain and power. They reached Naruto's home. Kakashi said his goodbyes and left. Naruto walked up to the door. It had blood and scratch marks all over it. All you could see was his name in big bloody letters. Naruto walked inside and searched the whole house for anything suspicious. All he found was a few interesting books on tailed beasts and emotion sealing. This intrigued Naruto. He sat on a chair that he had never seen before but had his size claw marks on it, scratching out a symbol that Naruto knew but didn't know at the same time. He sat down quietly, not making any noise. He began reading, noticing that on the pages of the books was blood sticking some of the pages together. He examined the blood, trying to see why it was there. He turned to a page and on that page was written, "Whoever reads this, beware that the nine-tailed beast can erase and corrupt memories. Whoever is the holder of this beast will eventually become a monster and must be killed for the good of any village." Naruto dropped the book. After reading that, he kicked it away. The book had sent shivers down his spine. Naruto curled up into a ball on the chair. Hey Kaibui, have you ever erased my memories before? If you tell me I won't get mad. Yes, I have erased some of your memories. They were extremely painful and you asked me to erase them. That's why some of the things you see are familiar. Naruto went silent. Later he went to bed, trying to forget what he read. The next day Naruto got up and proceeded to get ready for school. Tsunade had given him some new clothes. Apparently when he was captured his got ruined after getting dressed in his new clothes that wear a black mesh shirt and a black cloak to go over the shirt, black baggy pants that had a red print on it like lines of a vein. He was told to wear a mask over his mouth. It was black and connected to the shirt. He also had to wear a mask that covered the top part of his face, hiding his eyes. After he got dressed he proceeded to make breakfast. He was an excellent cook. He made eggs and bacon with fresh berries that had been delivered to his door that morning. Naruto sat at the table which for some reason had bloodstains all over it. He ate his breakfast and went to the door to put on his shoes which were black combat boots. There was a knock on the door. Naruto answered it. "Hello. Oh, you must be here to take me to school. You're my escort, right?" The Anbu who was standing at the door nodded. "Menma, I am here to take you to school and then when it is time for gym class 1 must escort you to Lady Tsunade for evaluation. Understood. Here is your school schedule." The Anbu hands him a piece of paper. Naruto reads the paper. It said first period history with Kakashi, then second period math with Haruka, then third period language arts with Jiraiya, then lunch, then fourth period science with Kurenai, then fifth period gym with Guy. Naruto looked up at the Anbu. "So during fifth period I had to go to Tsunade?" The Anbu nodded, then turned around and walked to the hedge fence arch. "I have been assigned to stay with you all day at school until I am told otherwise. You better hurry or you shall be late. Please follow me." Naruto and the Anbu quickly walked to Naruto's school. When they arrived the bell rang. They were late. Naruto quickly ran to his classroom, getting lost a couple of times. When he finally found it he was 5 minutes late. Naruto walked into the classroom and took a seat at the back, the assigned Anbu following him. Everyone stared at Naruto, wondering why the new student is being followed by an Anbu. Kakashi walked to Naruto and whispered to him, "You're 5 minutes late. Did you get lost?" Kakashi looked at the Anbu standing next to Naruto. The Anbu nodded yes. The Anbu got on one knee. "It's my fault. I didn't help him find his class. My apologies." Kakashi nodded. "Understood." The school intercom came on. "Would Menma please come to the principal's office? Would Menma please come to the principal's office? Thank you." Naruto stood up and walked out of the classroom, heading to the principal's office which he passed when he first walked into school. Naruto knocks on the door. "Come in," a mystery voice said. Naruto walks into the office and sits down at a seat across from the desk that was full of papers. "You wanted to see me?" Tsunade stood up from behind the piles of paper. She walks around the desk and stands in front of Naruto. "Your name has officially been changed to Menma. Now I need to speak to the Kaibui about something important." Menma relaxes in his chair, eyes turning full red. "You called? What is it you wish to speak about?" Tsunade straightens her posture. "Well, I looked over some reports and I don't find it necessary to test Menma, but we have to know what rank he is. So what would you put his skills at? Everyone his age is either Chunin or Genin." Menma's body looks like he's thinking. "Tsunade, I would rank Kid Ether Special Junin. Sage or Cage. He has already mastered summoning me out of his body in Sage mode, but since we don't want to draw attention to ourselves I suggest that we weaken his powers and jutsu." Tsunade sits in the seat next to Menma. "What and how would we weaken his jutsu? And he has a remarkable healing rate. We should probably weaken that too." Menma sits upright. In his eyes is where his genjutsu comes from, his hands is where his normal jutsu comes from, his heart is where the healing comes from. So bandage his eyes and hands in a special chakra-eating bandage, so whenever he tries to use his eyes or hands to make hand signs he won't be able to without having someone remove the bandages. "But what about his heart? Can we put a seal on it or something?" Tsunade moves closer. Menma looks at the floor. "We can seal away his heart, but he will never feel love again ever, so we could just out a temporary seal on it. He still won't feel love while the seal is working." Tsunade nods. "I think we can do that, but we will have to assign him a caretaker since he will be blind and unable to use his hands. I could see if Tamari would take care of him. She says he is like her brother, so it wouldn't be any trouble for her. She is an Anbu after all. She is highly qualified for this passion." Menma nods. "Yes, and when you put the bindings on his heart his whisker marks will go away, but when you put the binding over his eyes tighten it until he bleeds." "Understood. Tem, get in here." Tamari comes in dressed in an Anbu uniform. She stands next to Menma. Tsunade stands up and walks over to her desk. "You will be Menma's caretaker now. Help me put these bindings on him." Tsunade and Tamari put the bindings and the seal on Menma. Tsunade sits down at her desk. "You may go back to class, but when gym comes only you are allowed to spar with him. Understood, Tem? And remember, just because he can't see or use his hands doesn't mean he can't fight. Now get out of my office, it's lunch now." Tamari and Menma walked to the lunchroom. The Kaibui went back into his seal again. Menma walked behind Tamari, having her lead him since he couldn't see. Hey Tem, are you going to be living with me now? Tamari pondered the question. Well, since I'm going to be taking care of you 24/7, I guess I'll have to. Tamari reads the menu for lunch. Oh, for lunch there is ramen with a pouch of ice-cold tea. Yum. Menma's mouth started watering. You're going to have to feed me. Tamari shrugged. Whatever. Oh, we will need to set up a mind link so when you actually have to do schoolwork you can just tell me the answers and I'll just write them down for you. Menma poked Tamari's head, setting up a link. Can you hear me? Surprised. Yes, crystal clear. They reached the lunchroom. Go sit down at a table, I'll get his lunch. Okay. Tamari walked away to the lunch line. Menma sat down at a table that faced a wall. He sat across from the wall. There was a chair on the other side of the table for Tamari. And she came back 5 minutes later with hot ramen for her and Menma. Tamari sat down across from Menma, placing the food down first so she wouldn't spill it. Say ah. Menma took his mask off and opened his mouth. Tamari took a spoonful of hot ramen and quickly put it in Menma's mouth. The ramen was boiling hot. Menma swallowed, grabbing his throat. His mouth was burning. Ow, 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 hot, really hot. Ow, where's my tea? Tamari looked around for the tea. I forgot it, but I'll go get it now. Stay put, don't move. She got up to go get the tea and some ice cubes. Kiba comes up and sits next to Menma. Hey, you're the new kid, right? Menma didn't answer him. Tem, some random person's bugging me. Just ignore them, I'm getting your tea. Kiba waved his hand in front of Menma's face, rudely trying to get his attention. Hey, did you hear me, punk? What, are you deaf or something? Hello? Menma turned to face Kiba. I'm going to beat him up if he doesn't leave now. Bug me one more time and I will kick you across the room. Got it, punk? Menma was annoyed at this point. Kiba smirked. You won't, wimp. Tamari was walking back with the tea and ice when Kiba was sent flying next to her, hitting a wall. Kiba got up and ran towards Menma with his claws, showing he was mad. Now it's my turn, blind boy. Menma grabbed Kiba by his throat. His hands were bandaged but he could still use them. Barely. It hurt when he moved them, and right now they were really hurting. You were the one who started this, attacking a blind person. Shame on you. Menma stood up from his seat. Tamari appeared behind Menma. She put the drinks on the table, then tightened the binding around Menma's eyes. Stop fighting now. Menma whined in pain. He let go off Kiba and dropped to the floor, blood coming from his eye binding. Okay, I stop now, loosen it. Tamari loosened the binding a little. She helped Menma up from the floor and guided him to his seat. She handed him a tea. Now that you've stopped, what happened? Kiba pointed at Menma and Menma pointed at Kiba. Both at the same time. He started it. No, I didn't. Stop copying me. Tamari sat down next to Menma, putting ice in his ramen. She took a deep breath. Well, Mr. Inuzuka, what did you do to provoke Menma? Kita sat down at the table next to theirs. I was just talking to him, then he threatened to throw me across the room. And how do you know my last name? Tem, he's lying. He called me a punk and a wimp, then he started waving his hand in my face like I wasn't listening, but like who would listen to him? He keeps going on and on, it annoying. Well, you two are both in the wrong. Kiba, detention, and Menma, I'll deal with you later, understood? The boys nod. They finish eating their ramen. Tamari takes the trash and throws it away. From across the lunchroom, Menma hears someone shout. It was that wimp that beat you up. Kiba, man, you're getting weak. Seriously, how can you get beat up by that weakling? Menma gets irritated at the comment and growls. Tem, did you hear them? Tamari sighs, walking back to Menma. Yes, just ignore them. She arrives at the table. The bell rings for 4th period with Kurenai. The class went by fast. All they did was study the chakra network on different things. The bell rang for 5th period. Menma and Tamari walked there in silence, only talking telepathically. Menma held onto Tamari's arm, adjusting his mask. It's just my first day and I already hate science. It's so boring. How can you stand it? Tamari shrugs. I guess I just find it interesting. She adjusted her Anbu mask, tightening it around her hood, which hid her spiky hair. Menma face palms. You said that out loud again. Ops, I'm still getting the hang of it. Just give me some time. Menma rolls his eyes. The movement makes the bandages hurt. So you know I just rolled my eyes, but you can't see it. They arrive at the gymnasium. The Genin 12 except Menma were already sitting on the bleachers. All the seats were taken, so Menma and Tamari just stood in the back behind everyone, not drawing any attention. Guy walked in and stood on a podium, blowing a whistle loudly. Okay students, today we are going to be splitting up into partners, so everyone find a buddy, then you and your partner will be fighting. He looks at his clipboard. We have a new student, would Menma please come to the front of the class? Tamari and Menma walked to the front of the class. Menma stumbled a couple of times walking down the steps of the bleachers, Tamari leading him. They stood next to Guy. Guy clapped his hands together. Well Menma, since you're new you can choose someone to spar with. Menma scratched his head. He pointed at Guy. I want to spar with you, and if I win I don't have to do anything for the rest of the week. Guy grabbed Menma's hand and shook it. You got yourself a deal, but no, I won't go easy on you, so be prepared. Menma nodded. Tem, would you please take the bandages around my eyes off? You won't need to remove the ones around my hands, this should be easy with just that one removed. Tamari sighed. Fine, but if I get in trouble I'm blaming you, understand, and when you finish I am putting them back on tighter. She takes his mask off and removes the bandages around his eyes. She then put a barrier up so no one can stop the two. Good to go now, whatever you do don't let the crowd see your eyes. Menma nods, butting his back to the crowd, then opening his eyes slowly. They were red like his evil self. Guy froze in fear when he saw his eyes. Menma put him in a genjutsu that made him scream in fear. Menma stepped closer and removed the genjutsu. Guy rose his hand, calling the match. Tamari undid the barrier and ran over to Menma, putting the binding back on tighter. What did you do? Menma chuckled. I just showed him how I was going to kill him, man, can he scream? Tamari slapped him upside the head. The whole class jumped when she did. They were surprised that she would go against him. Tamari guided Menma back to where they were before they got called on. Idiot. Guy walked back to his podium. See, class dismissed. Everyone was heading out the door when Guy called for Menma to stay after class. Menma walked to Guy, who was going through the papers on his clipboard. What did you want from me, sensei? Guy cleared his throat. Well, what are you? Those eyes, have seen them before somewhere. Tamari stepped in front of the two. I'm sorry, but I can't disclose that information to you, and please don't tell anyone what you saw. Menma went too far in that spar. I will have to deal with him later. Guy looked at her. Understood, but I think that he shouldn't spar with the other students, so Menma, you can train on your own in my class. After school at Menma's house, they were in the front room sitting in silence. Tamari finally spoke up. Menma, you can't do that, getting onto fights like that, you could seriously hurt someone. Menma relaxed in his chair. But Kiba smelled like wet dog, it's gross, does he even know what soap is? Tamari shook her head disapprovingly. She smelled the air, then instantly grabbed her nose. It seems like you need a shower after dinner, go take one. Shush, I feel like a mother. Ew, the house and you both need a shower, it smells like dust, blood and stinky socks. Now what do you want for dinner? I'll cook. Menma chuckled. You can't cook, and if you did you would probably poison me. I'm cooking. Tamari had an offended look on her face. Hey, it's not that bad, Baka, but how can you cook? You're blind. Menma smirked. Well, you can take the bandages off so I can cook, and then after dinner you won't need to remove them when I shower. Tamari rubbed her temples. Fine, but after your shower I'm putting them back on, got it? Menma chuckled. Yes, mom, he said, mocking her. Tamari clenched her fist. She stood up and walked behind Menma, removing his mask, then the bandage. Happy now? Menma smiled. Yes, very much so, mom. Tamari rolled her eyes, walking to one of the many extra rooms. Hey Menma, I claim this one, you come in, you're dead, got it? She shouted down the hall. The room she claimed was the second door next to the bathroom. Menma got up and walked into the kitchen. Okay, but I claim the master bedroom, he shouted down the hall. What do you want for dinner? Tamari walked into the kitchen. She had just taken off her Anbu uniform. Now she was wearing a light blue tank top with dark blue skinny jeans. She put her hair up onto 4 ponytails. She sat at the island, which was in the middle of the kitchen. Menma was looking in the fridge waiting for a dinner suggestion. Earlier when they got home he had taken off his cloak and was just wearing his black mesh shirt and black pants. Tamari picked up the glass of water she had poured for herself earlier and took a sip. Can we have miso soup with extra seaweed? Menma shrugged, grabbing the ingredients from the fridge. He started cooking. 30 minutes later they finished dinner. Tamari had cleared the table and started doing the dishes when they heard a knock at the door. Menma stood up from his seat and walked towards the door. I'll get it. Tamari stepped in front of him. No, you won't. Go take a shower, I'm answering the door. Menma walked down the hall to the bathroom and took his shower. Tamari walked to the door. Who is it? She looked through the peephole. Shikamaru stood on the other side. It's me, Shikamaru. I have a message from the Hokage for the Anbu caretaker. Tamari grabbed Menma's mask which was hanging on the coat rack next to her and put it on. She opened the door. What's the message? Shikamaru straightened his posture. She says that from now on the bandages must be kept on during school hours and out in public regardless of what's going on. If possible, never take them off. She says there's a high risk that his memories will come back. Well, something like that. Menma walks into the kitchen in a towel and grabs a bottle of water. He watches Tamari, Mom Tem, who's at the door. Tamari turns around and gives Menma a look. Go get in the shower already. Menma rolls his eyes. I already did, Shesh. Tamari blocks Shikamaru's view. Then go put some clothes on and get me your bandages now. Menma walked out of the kitchen and to his room. Yes, Mom. Tamari rubs her temples, irritated. Is that all? Shikamaru nods. Yes. Tamari shuts the door in Shikamaru's face. She walks to her room. The next morning, Tamari kicks Menma's door down. Get up, you're going to be late. She throws a pillow at Menma. Menma and Tamari get ready and go to school. They arrive there 30 minutes late when they finally get to class. Menma walks in and sits in the back, Tamari sitting next to him. Kakashi walks over to Menma. You're late again. Menma shrugs. She didn't wake me up in time and I'm blind now, so yeah. Tamari hits Menma on the back of the head. It's not my fault, you're the one that slept and I tried to wake you up multiple times. Kakashi face palmed. Okay, it's fine, just don't be late again, understood? They nod. A little while later. Hey Menma, do you know why everyone scooted away when you sat down? No clue, maybe they're afraid of me. Mom Tem, when you fight Kid today, make sure you don't remove any bandages. He is planning on cheating, be careful, he is as sly as me. Okay class, can anyone tell me who holds the nine-tailed fox demon? Kakashi got up from his seat and walked to the front of the class. Everyone but Tamari and Menma. How are we supposed to know that? Menma rose his hand. Kakashi looked at Menma. Do you know the answer, Menma? Menma stood up. Yes, his name was Naruto Uzumaki, but he died 6 years ago. Kakashi nodded. Correct. Do you know who the current holder is? Menma was about to speak when Tamari put her hand over his mouth. No, he does not. It hasn't been determined who exactly, but a different Uzumaki is now the current holder. Menma sat down. Why did you stop me? Because that's classified information no one should know except the Hokage and whoever they deem reliable, understood? After school, Tamari and Menma were walking through the village. Menma was holding onto Temari's arm. Hey Tem, Mom, do you think that we could train some more after dinner? Tamari shrugged. Sure, but why? We trained a lot today. Menma shrugs. I have a feeling that something is going to happen soon, and besides, you need to get better at your justice. Tamari stopped walking, making Menma bump into her. She turns around to look at him. I know I have that feeling too, and I could improve on my jutsu, but you need to improve also. You can't rely on your eyes or hands, so we will train, but I'm not holding back. Got it. So where do you want to eat? Cause I want junk food. Menma smirked. Barbecue. After dinner, they were walking to the death forest for training. Menma could hear strange wild animals as they got closer. Where are we training? Tamari smiled. A place full of monsters. Death Forest, it's the best place to train with you, and here I'll be able to take your bandages off without getting in trouble. Menma popped his back and knuckles. Then what are we waiting for? They reached a clearing in the forest of death. Menma removed his mask and cloak and Tamari removed all of his bandages. Tamari grabbed her fan, she waved it, and there was a big boom sound attracting some of the very large and very dangerous animals. Ready. Menma nodded as a huge snake came out of the forest. It was black with purple markings underneath its head. It had bright green eyes. The snake must have been 50 feet tall and weighed about 700 pounds. Tamari looked at Menma. She was shaking a little. It was the biggest snake she had ever seen. Do you want to go first? Menma shook his head. You got this. If you get in trouble, I'll help you. Besides, the one I'm going to fight is coming. It will be here soon. Tamari stopped shaking. She shook her head, trying to clear her thoughts. She took a deep breath, closing her eyes. She opened her fan, showing one of the 3 moons. The snake slithered closer to her, making itself look bigger. The snake got in a striking position. Tamari opened her eyes and moved out of the way just as the snake went to bite her. A strange energy moving through her. She felt fast and strong. She used her fan to send wind needles at the snake, hitting it in its right eye. The snake went to bite her again, but instead of biting her, it bit her fan, getting it stuck in the snake's mouth. Tamari pulled a paper bomb out of her weapons pouch. She used the wind to throw the bomb down the snake's throat and into its stomach. The bomb went off, making the snake blow up. Tamari walked next to Menma and sat down. She was tired already. I did it. I won. No thanks to you. Menma chuckled. Yeah, but it was my chakra making you faster and stronger. Stunned Tamari looked at Menma questioningly. How what but how? Menma looked into the forest seeing a pair of red glowing eyes. Move now. Not seeing the eyes Tamari didn't move. Why what's the matter? Menma picked up Tamari and ran as a giant wolf jumped out of the forest and nearly bit Menma's leg off. Menma put Tamari on a high tree branch. Stay here. Menma jumped down landing right in front of the giant wolf. It was black with red eyes and blood covering its mouth and face. The wolf was a little bit smaller than the nine-tailed fox but had a nastier look in its eyes. Menma put his hand out towards the wolf who jumped trying to get Menma in its jaws but stopped when it got close to him. The wolf started whining and lay down showing its belly to Menma who walked over to the wolf's nose putting his foot on it. Menma petted the wolf in between its eyes. Did you miss me girl? The wolf gave a little lonely whine. The wolf nudged Menma then rolled over so that she was laying on her stomach. Menma smiled. Tamari, you can come out now, she's not going to hurt you. Menma got on the wolf's back sitting behind its head. Tamari jumped off the branch landing a few feet away from the wolf. If it's not going to hurt me then why did it try to kill you? Menma rolled his eyes. It is a she and her name is Fang. Pet her, she just needs to get used to you and she only did that because she was testing to see if it was really me. Tamari cautiously stepped closer to she put her hand out for the wolf to smell. Fang smelled Tamari's hand and licked her face. Tamari petted Fang under her chin. Tamari get up here, she won't bite. Wallace at least. Tamari climbed onto Fang's back. It was softer than she expected. Hey Menma, what type of wolf is she? Menma patted Fang's head. She's a Ketsuiki Okami. Tamari's eyes widen. She's a blood wolf but those are all supposed to be dead and extremely dangerous. Who did you find one and tame her? Wah. Menma put his hand over Tamari's mouth. Shush, you'll scare Fang, and I found her when she was a pup so I raised her but then I put her here in the forest 6 years ago and all that time she has grown strong. No one knows that she is here, only me, and now you don't tell anyone. Got it? She's like family to me and we are bringing her home with us. There's enough room. Tamari face palmed. But how are we supposed to get her across the village? Menma grinned. We are going to ride on her back while she runs through the village. You can't exactly tell what breed she is by looking at her fur but her eyes give it away, so I'm going to do a jutsu that changes her eye color, but while she's running through the village we have to make it so no one sees us riding her, so we are going to have to be hiding in her fur. Tamari shook her head. Menma, you're crazy, but seems no other way to get her home, but home is on the other side of the village and it's getting dark. People are going to notice a giant wolf running through the village. What would we do if we got caught? Menma started thinking. We will just have to run fast then hold on tight. I can sense some other blood wolves in the area. Not all of them were killed, some just ran to this forest but other ran to other forests around Konoha, but the ones that went to the other forests all got caught and were killed. There are only 10 in this forest, 11 if you count Fang. Fang got up and started slowly walking to a pond that was nearby. She put her muzzle in the water trying to get the blood off of her face. Fang got all the blood off her face. She turned around and growled. Daddy, hide, there's someone watching us and they're not friendly. Menma handed Tamari the bandages and she put them on him tight. Menma patted Fang on her head. Good work Fang, I can sense them too, but they're just 3 other wolves, you can take them, you got this. Tamari looked at Menma confused. You understand wolf? Menma nodded and held onto Fang's fur tight. Hold onto her fur now. Tamari grabbed Fang's fur and held onto her tightly. Fang growled loudly as 3 wolves walked towards her. They were the size of her. They growled back. Fang's eyes glowed bright blood red like Menma's. When he was in Kaibui mode, Fang growled and attacked one of them, biting them on the back of the neck, making the wolf whine in pain. The other wolves bowed down and went to the hurt wolf, putting it on their backs. The wolves left. Fang started running to the edge of Death Forest. Daddy, they said that if any human wishes to return then they will kill them, but if we bring them an owner that is strong like them then they won't kill, but they need an owner for all of them. Menma nodded. Tamari, I need you to do the appearance changing jutsu. All you had to do is make a wolf hand sign and then picture the change in your mind. Tamari nodded. She did the jutsu. Fang's eyes changed to a crystal blue with red at the center. They reached the edge of the forest. Fang stopped running. Menma put some of his chakra into Fang. Menma nodded, then buried himself in Fang's fur. And Tamari buried herself in Fang's fur also. Fang shot out of the forest at lightning speed. She jumped over the wall that separated the forest from the village. She kept running. She was in the village now. As she was running, she was being careful not to step on anyone or any buildings. Her paws were the size of a small house. They passed the Hokage mansion. Tsunade was looking out the window surprised. Fang kept running until they got to the Uzumaki mansion. When they got there, Fang went around the back of the house and into the backyard. Fang crouched down, letting Menma and Temari get off. Fang was wagging her tail, she was so excited. Fang nuzzled Menma. "I really get to live with you, Daddy, really I'm so happy I could howl." Menma petted Fang. "Yes, and don't howl because any minute now Tsunade's going to come her asking why a giant wolf just ran through the village." Temari went inside and there was a knock at the door. Temari went to the door. "Menma, she's here, keep Fang quiet." Temari opened the door. Tsunade burst through the doorway, pushing Temari aside. "Where's that mangy mutt?" Tsunade looked at Temari. Temari waved her hands defensively. "What mutt? I don't know what you're talking about." There was a loud howl. Tsunade looked at Temari and then walked to the backyard. She slammed the door open. She angrily walked over to Menma. "Why do you have a giant wolf, and why was it just running across the village?" Fang stepped in front of Menma defensively and growled at Tsunade. Menma patted Fang and walked to Tsunade. "That wolf is my pup and she has a name, and that name is Fang, and she is living with me now, and there is nothing you can say to stop me or her." Tsunade looked at Fang and then back at Menma. "You may keep her if she doesn't hurt anyone or causes any destruction to this village, got it? And since she is your pup as you said, then you must know what breed she is. We can't have some random dangerous animal living in the village." Menma petted Fang's head. "She's a Akatsuki Okami, but she won't harm anyone." Tsunade looked at Menma. She was mad. "Menma, are there any more of her kind?" Menma nodded. "Yes, in the forest of death. Oh, but you can't go there." Tsunade walked up to Fang, letting her smell her hand. "And why can't I?" Fang barked and licked Tsunade. Fang ran to a tree and ripped it out of the ground. She brought it to Tsunade and dropped it at her feet, wagging her tail. Menma chuckled. "She wants you to throw it for her, and because those wolves aren't tame like Fang, they will kill any human unless tamed and trained." Tsunade picks up the tree and throws it, Fang chasing after it. "Well, then we will have to find them an owner. Since you tamed one, you will tame them all, got it? And I want them all tamed by next week or they will all be killed, so you better get to work, and you may take them through the village after they are tamed, but no destruction." Menma nodded his head. "No, Tsunade, it one wolf per person, and I already have one, so you need to get some ninja that are as strong as the wolves to tame them, and I will need to take Fang with me everywhere I go. She is my pup and she acts like it." Tsunade rubbed her temples. "Then you can pick from the ninja, since we have no clue how strong these wolves are. You and the strongest ninja meet tomorrow morning at the Forest of Death, and you may bring your pup, but if anything happens to my ninja, them those few wolves who aren't tame will be put down." Fang whined at hearing the last part. She crawled on her belly to Tsunade and nudged her with her nose. "Daddy, is she going to kill them and me? I don't want my kind to die, Daddy." Menma walked over to Fang and petted her head. "Don't worry, pup, you'll be fine. We can tame them, but it will be hard, so be on your best behavior tomorrow." Tsunade tilted her head. "You understand, wolf?" Menma nodded his head. "Temari, can you undo the jutsu, please? When you tame a Akatsuki Okami, they take on part of your soul, so they look like you in ways, but if their appearance change, you can understand everything they say, but that's only when you bond and tame one, which is very dangerous if the wolf isn't a pup, and these wolves are almost fully grown. They're the same age as Fang, 7 years old, but these ones are in their teenage years, so they will be even more dangerous than the adults." Temari undid the appearance jutsu. Fang's eyes changed to the scary blood red like Menma's. Menma got on Fang's back. He patted her head. Fang stood up, towering over everyone. Menma sat behind Fang's head. He gathered some of her fur in his hand. "When you have one bound to your soul, they can be your eyes and ears. They are part of you, so since I can't see, she can see for me. She does as I say only because it's me commanding her. She won't listen to anyone else but me, so since I went and retrieved her today, she is my seeing eye wolf, but she has been attached to my soul for a long time. She is the only thing I trust other than myself. If I feel pain, then so does she. She will never turn on me. When you have one of these wolves attached to you, they will become protective over you and will never leave your side. The ninja that you send must know that when they bond to a Akatsuki Okami, that their wolf will be with them forever. If they die, so will their wolf. The people of this village tried to kill these wolves because they didn't understand them, but you have to be bound to them to understand them, so only gather your willing ninja. Any other will be killed by the wolves." Tsunade understood. "Okay, Menma, but you must help the ninja I send bond to the wolves. How many ninja will I need to send?" Menma wove his hands through Fang's fur. 10 ninja. Tsunade walked away and left the house. Menma got off Fang and walked into the house, grabbing a book, and he walked back outside. Tamari, you need to do the jutsu that makes someone or something small. Tamari looked through the book and did the jutsu on Fang, making her the size of a large horse. The next day at the gate leading to the Forest of Death, Menma was riding Fang. Tamari was leaning against the gate. Menma rode Fang over to where Tamari was standing and waiting. Mom, when I say undo the small jutsu, we will need Fang's height when we get inside. Tamari nodded, understood. Fang turned around and growled, Daddy, I can sense some humans come. Are they enemy or friends? Menma petted Fang's head. They are fine, we are going to get them bound to the pack that in the forest, but we need to talk to them first, so behave. 10 ninja walked over to Menma. Fang and Tamari, who was in her Anbu uniform. The ninja formed a group in front of the three. Menma cleared his voice. Hello, you must be the group that is going to tame the pack in the forest. I am Menma. The wolf I'm riding is Fang and the Anbu is Tem. Before I tell you what you are to expect in the forest and from the wolves, why don't you introduce yourselves so Fang can get accustomed to you and help pick out your wolf? A ninja stepped forward. I am Sasuke Uchiha. He stepped back. A ninja stepped forward. I am Sakura Haruno. She stepped back. A ninja stepped forward. I'm Kiba Inuzuka. He stepped back. A ninja stepped forward. I am Hinata Hyuga. She stepped back. A ninja stepped forward. I'm Sai. He stepped back. The team 10 and 8 gave their name. Menma nodded to Tamari. Mom, would you undo it now? Tamari undid the jutsu and Fang grew back to her original size. The ninja gasped at how big Fang was. Menma patted Fang's head. The wolves you are going to see are the same size as her. You will fight a wolf one-on-one, but you will only fight the wolf that I say, or else they might kill you. Now when you defeat your wolf, you will walk up to their head and place your hand on their nose. This will create the bond and attach the wolf to your soul. When the wolf is attached, you will give it a name and the wolf will instantly look like you, but be warned that your wolf feels what you feel and you can understand what your wolf says, but no one else will. Now you can change the size of your wolf right after binding to it and it will stay that size until they and you die. Now everyone one by one get on Fang's back so we can lead you to where the wolves are. Everyone gets on Fang's back. They head into the Forest of Death. Menma rubs Fang behind her ears. Okay, find the pack so we can get this over with. Fang barks. The pack is in a clearing not too far ahead. They haven't sensed us yet, but they will soon. Menma nods. Head there now. Okay guys, we have located the wolves. Now remember to be quiet and when we get there immediately get off and we will assign you your wolf. They reach the edge of the clearing. Fang jumps out, scaring all the other wolves. Everyone gets off of Fang. Menma and Fang approach the Alpha. I have brought you some masters. Now line up your wolves to fight and I have a special human for you. Alpha, now gut your betas. Read. The Alpha nods and barks. The beta wolves line up in a row. Menma rides Fang to the 10 ninjas. Okay, Sasuke Uchiha, get on Fang and the rest of you line up across from the wolves. They do as he says. They line up and get in a fighting stance. Menma rides over to the Alpha. Alpha, I brought your human. Menma turns to face the humans and wolves. Ready, set, fight. Everyone starts fighting. An hour later, everyone beat their wolf and has bonded to them. Sakura petted her wolf. I'll name you Cherry Blossom. The rest named their wolves and they were riding their wolves out of the forest. Menma was at the front leading everyone when a giant bear charged at Menma. It knocked over Fang. Everyone's wolves growled. Sasuke rode his wolf to Menma. Menma Killer said that that bear was the one that was attacking and preying upon the pack and he said that we need to run, we can't take it. Menma stood up. Get everyone out of the forest. Tem will lead you. When you get out, make your wolves small like dogs. I'll stay and take on the bear, but tell Tsunade that the blonde fox has appeared. Understand? Sasuke nodded and got everyone to leave but Tamari. Tamari walked up to Menma and removed his bandages around his eyes and hands. Be careful. Tamari left with the others, leaving Menma with Fang and the bear. Menma got on Fang's back. Okay girl, we are going to try something. Okay, but it will hurt a little. Fang stood up. What is it, daddy? Kid, you can't try that, it's too dangerous to use on a weakling like this bear. Menma nodded. Then maybe just the first stage of it, then it won't hurt as much. That is all the power you will need to defeat it. Menma did a hand sign. Menma and Fang grew a two-tailed chakra cloak, releasing a massive amount of bloodlust and killing intent. This made the bear quiver in fear. The bear charged at them, trying to scratch and bite them. It scratched Fang on her front right leg. A scratch appeared on Menma's right arm. Fang launched at the bear, biting its neck and snapping it, killing the bear. Fang dragged the bear's dead body underneath a tree and set it down. Fang walked to a lake and got in it. The chakra cloak went away. Menma and Fang were both bleeding. There was a huge scratch on their arm. The blood went into the water. Menma and Fang started healing but were tired from the fight. Fang carried Menma on her back to the gate of the forest. Before collapsing from exhaustion, Menma had passed out on Fang's back. Tsunade arrived to see Menma and Fang passed out on the ground. She started walking over to them. When Menma started screaming in pain, Fang woke up and put Menma on the ground before she started whining in pain as well. Tsunade ran over to them. Fang, what's wrong? Are you okay? Menma, wake up. Menma. Fang put her paws over her ears. She howled loudly and wolf. Daddy, wake up. Daddy, what's wrong? Why are you in mental pain? I don't understand what's going on. Daddy. Daddy, wake up. Daddy, are you having a relapse? Daddy, what are these memories? They're horrible. Daddy. Sasuke appeared with Killer, his wolf. They ran over to Menma and Fang. Tsunade, Killer said that Fang said that he is having a relapse. Tsunade picked up Menma. Fang, we are taking him to the hospital. Would you give me a ride, please? Fang let Tsunade got on. They ran to the hospital. Menma was in a coma again. Fang was sitting outside his window, her muzzle coming through the window. Tsunade walked in and stood next to Menma. Kaibui, I need to speak with you now. Menma's eyes opened. The Kaibui took over. You called, what is it? Tsunade took a deep breath. You need to find a way to give him all his memories without this happening. He needs his memories back and I don't want his emotions shut off either. I could easily give his memories back but he will be cold and mean. He will have all his emotions but he knows how to shut them off so it's memories or emotions you pick. His wolf will be affected to know that. Tsunade started tapping her foot. Give him his memories. As you wish. The Kaibui gave him his memories back. Menma woke up from his coma. He looked out the window. Why am I here, Granny? I'm not hurt or anything. Menma didn't know that he was in a coma. Tsunade smiled. We did a checkup on you after you fought the bear. Menma got up and went to the window. Fang licked him. Well then, I'll be going. I stuff to do and Fang needs training. Menma jumped out the window and landed on Fang's back. They ran toward his house. When they got there, they went to the backyard. Fang crouched down and let Menma get off. Menma gave Fang a cold glare. I need to seal away your emotions. I can't think feeling your emotion. It's sickening. Menma sealed Fang's emotions. Fang's eyes went a scary blood red. Her fur went completely black. She had an evil look in her eyes. Thank you, Father. I feel better now. I understand your plan, but when are they going to come? I know you don't like waiting and neither do I. Menma did a hand sign making Fang the size of a normal dog. Be patient, my child, soon they will come. We just need to wait, but for now we must act normal and look normal, which means going to school and behaving. Fang nodded. Tsunade removed Tamari from taking care of you now that you have me as your guardian. Fang walked in the house. Menma walked behind Fang. Well, that's good news. We can't have someone reigning our plans now, can we? Menma walked to his room. Fang now followed him. No, we cannot. You need to put your bandages on. I will be your eyes. Menma put his bandages on his hands and eyes. Let's get some rest. School starts tomorrow and I need my sleep. Wake me up when it's time. Menma laid down and went to sleep. Fang laid next to his bed all night long, guarding him while he slept. The next morning, Fang leapt onto Menma's bed, waking him up. Father, time to get up. Menma got up and got ready for school. They were walking to school. Menma was riding on Fang's back. Menma sat up straight on Fang's back. Fang, I'm giving you the power to do jutsus when I say, but only when I say. You will be using my chakra and that will me very tired her. I want you to talk with me telepathically, understood? Fang nodded. Yes. They arrived at school. Fang turned herself dog size. She led Menma to class. They arrived on time. They walked in. All the wolves knelt on their knees, their owners not understanding but feeling something cold. When Menma walked in, class started. Kakashi walked in late. Hello class. Fang growled. Menma petted her, making her stop. Kakashi looked at Menma. So you finally got a seeing eye dog? Everyone laughed at Kakashi, who looked confused. Menma scoffed. She's not a seeing eye dog but a Ketsueki Okami. Fang growled at Kakashi. The class fell silent. All the wolves laid down and showed their stomach to Fang, even Killer the alpha. Menma chuckled. Looks like there's a new alpha, her right? Fang. Fang barked in agreement. She sat next to Menma, putting her paw on him. Kakashi looked at all the wolves. The Ketsueki Okami were supposed to all be dead and killed. Are all your companions Ketsueki Okami students? The class nodded. Menma smirked. But mine's the alpha now, isn't that right, Killer and Sasuke? Sasuke nodded. I don't know why, but Killer says that you are to be named Alpha now, but I don't see how since you're just a weakling. Fang growled at Sasuke, making him and Killer jump. Can I please shut him up, father? Menma patted her. No, calm down, Fang. Kakashi started the lesson. After class everyone walked out. The wolves gave the submissive posture to Fang and Menma, who were the last ones to leave the class. Fang made herself big enough for Menma to ride on her back. They were walking to Menma's locker when Sasuke stepped in front of them, making Fang come to a halt. Sasuke put his hand on Fang's nose. I know who you are, Menma, you're still weak. Even for you I can sense that getting yourself blinded, man, what idiot would be stupid enough to have that happen to them? Menma chuckled. You know who I am, but not what I am. Fang, would you show him please? Fang barked, which made Sasuke jump back. Fang put Sasuke in Menma's head, scaring Sasuke at the sight of the kaibui. Fang brought him out. Sasuke fell to the floor in fear of what Menma was. Menma chuckled and put a finger to his lips. Shish, you can't tell anyone or else I'll send Fang after you. You are the beta and I am the alpha, but around your friends you are the alpha. You must now bend to my every will, understand, Uchiha? Sasuke nodded. He walked in front of Menma to class. Everyone's jaw dropped as they saw Sasuke hanging with the new kid they got to class. Fang changed to dog size. They took their seats. Menma was sitting in the back of the class when Gaara walked in. Gaara walked to the front of the class and stood in front of everyone. He waved to Menma, who waved back. As you all know, I am the Kazakage Gaara. I will be attending school with you now. My cage replacement just came back, so that is why I am here now. Iruka motioned for Gaara to sit next to Menma. Okay class, let's begin. Gaara sat next to Menma. He petted Fang. Hey girl, how's it been? Fang moved her head out of the pet. Gaara tilted his head. I see you got them back but got rid of something else. Menma chuckled. Only you would sense that, Gaara, and be happy that I have my mask on tight this time. Gaara looked at Fang's eyes. Using her to see smart and having a tight mask isn't good, it just hides your pain. Menma frowned. I got rid of my pain a long time ago. I just had to fix something, that's why it broke last time, but now it can't be removed. Gaara shook his head. So you're going to make Fang suffer too? What a shame, she would have made such a pretty wolf. Now you turned her into a monster. Fang gave a low growl. Menma shushed Fang. I didn't make a monster, they did. You better be careful what you say, Gaara. I'm not the same and neither is Fang. Gaara gave a sad look. I know you're not the same, Menma, not after Wa. Menma put his hand over Gaara's mouth. We have listening ears? Menma looked around the room. Everyone was watching them. During lunch, Menma was on the roof of the school. His eyes were closed. He was sitting in the shade. Menma waved his hand. Go find Sasuke. Fang got up from where she was laying. She walked to the lunchroom. She went to Killer. Get your human to follow me. Killer listened. He got Sasuke and followed Fang to the roof. They arrived. Fang went and laid down next to Menma. Sasuke stood in front of him. What do you want? Menma cracked his neck. Spar with me in 5th. Sasuke sat down. Why? Menma sat up. Because I need to show you how to really use your wolf in a fight. Sasuke tilted his head. What do you mean? Menma moved his hand. Fang tackled Killer, pinning him to the ground. Menma yawned. Like that. Fang got off of Killer and went back to Menma's side. Sasuke looked at Menma with a curious look. But you're blind, how can you fight? Fang growled. Menma put his hand on her head, making her stop growling. Fang went and sat in front of Sasuke, looking him in the eyes. Menma and Fang tilted their heads at the same time. Oh Sasuke, you haven't realized I see through Fang. Her eyes are mine and my eyes are hers, but just formed bonds can't act like fully developed ones, so I suggest you don't underestimate me or Fang. You don't know how much power either of us hold. Sasuke shook his head in agreement. Understood. The bell for lunch to end rang. Menma and Fang got up and headed to class. When they got there, all the wolves bowed and acted like betas, showing their stomachs. Menma and Fang sat down in the front of the class. Kurenai walked in and stood at her desk writing something on the board. Today we will be learning about the canines of the ninja world. Does anyone know any type of canine that ninjas use today? Menma rose his hand. Ketsueki Okami. Kurenai turned around to look at Menma, who said that. Menma rose his hand. I did. Kurenai walked to Menma's desk. Where did you hear about blood wolves? They're extinct. Menma shook his head. Not all of them. The wolves you see next to everyone are Ketsueki Okami, and Fang, my wolf, is the alpha. Kurenai gasped. She went back to her desk. Well, Menma, seems that your wolf is trained, I would assume. Menma nodded. Correct, I've had her since she was a pup. When the shinobi of this village tried to kill the last of her species, only 10 survived, not including Fang. Kurenai sat at her desk. Well Menma, since you know so much about the species, why don't you come to the front of the class and teach us about the blood wolves? Fang led Menma to the front of the class. Fang jumped up on the table at the front of the class. Menma faced the class. This is a Akatsuki Okami, also known as blood wolves. Shinobi don't know, but these wolves can attach to a person's soul, making the wolf and the owner stronger. The wolf, once attached to a shinobi, can communicate through telepathy. Watch. Menma looks at Fang. Fang does a jutsu and makes herself a little bigger. The class gasps. Menma faced the class again. They can also use their owner's chakra and do jutsus without doing any hand signs, but like any normal jutsu, it can drain your chakra. And since the wolves share a soul with their owner, anything the wolf sees the owner sees as well. Since I'm blind, I am allowed to have Fang with me to guide me. The Akatsuki Okami also can fight in place of their owner, but being attached to one means if you die they die, and if they die so will you. Being attached to one is different from getting attached. You have to have equal or greater power than the wolf. Unless you get your wolf at birth, then the wolf will instantly become attached to you, like how I got attached to Fang. I found her abandoned right after birth, so I am like a father to her and she is like my pup or child. But the wolves in special cases can be much bigger. This isn't Fang true size, she is much bigger. The normal size of a Akatsuki Okami is a little bit bigger than a wild wolf, but when you become attached to the wolf you get to say how big they are for the rest of your in their life. It will never change unless under special circumstances, like with Fang and me. There are only 11 Akatsuki Okami counting Fang left, which makes them endangered, and when their owner has children so will the wolves. It doesn't matter whether the wolf is a boy or girl. In the wild, Akatsuki Okami didn't have owners, so male and female was important, but since all the wolves have an owner it doesn't matter. Everyone looked at their wolf. Fang barked to get everyone's attention. Menma cleared his throat. Shinobi tried to make the wolves extinct because one of the wolves that no one knew about was attached to a very powerful ninja, and that wolf died, so the owner died. Shinobi thought that it was the wolves that killed the powerful ninja, but it wasn't the wolves, it was an enemy ninja that killed the wolf, which killed the shinobi, so the wolves were wiped out. For a misunderstanding, the wolves that survived are only 1% of the original population. Menma and Fang went back to their seat. Kurenai stood up and walked to the front of the class. She sat on the edge of her desk. Kurenai clapped. Thank you Menma. Now students who have one of these amazing wolves, it is your duty to make sure their species lies on. I know that no one wants to think about it, but these wolves could replace our nowadays ninja dogs. Imagine what we could do utilizing these wolves as weapons. Menma shot himself up out of his seat. They are more than just weapons to use at people's disposal. They are creature with a soul, a mindset. Like that is what killed that shinobi, using his wolf as a weapon at his disposal. They have a soul, they have a life, and no one can take that away. If you use them as a weapon and the wolf gets killed, then you're just using someone like a weapon. Also, they are more than that. To some people they are monsters, but the wolves only do and act like their owner, so if the wolf acts like a monster then the owner is the real monster. Menma moved his hand. Fang growled, which made all the other wolves growl as well. Fang jumped up on the desk. Kurenai backed up, but she ran into her desk. She moved behind her desk. Menma, go to the principal's office now and call them off. Menma moved his hand down. The wolves stopped growling. Menma stood up. Fang got off the desk and turned into the size of a dog that you could ride. Menma got on Fang's back and they got to the door of the classroom. Fang signaled for Killer to follow. Bring your human, you need to hear what's going to happen, but be quiet so we don't hear you. Killer and Sasuke followed as they left the room. Menma and Fang got to the principal's office. They walked in. Tsunade was sitting on her desk tapping her foot. Tsunade motioned for Menma to sit. Do you know how much trouble you're in right now? Menma sat up in his seat. Does it look like I care, Granny? You can give me detention, expel me or whatever, but I will not have someone stand there and say how they can use someone or something as a weapon. The next time I hear someone talking about using a living thing as a weapon, I'm going to kill them, and I won't stop there. You know how I feel about this village and its inhabitants. Tsunade sighed. Menma, running from it won't change anything. You're still the nine-tailed fox holder. No matter how much you try, you can't change the past, you can't fix what's been done, and you can't bring back the dead. If you think you can, then you're crazy. And yes, I know how horrible this village has been to you, but you are a shinobi here now. You better start acting like it or we will have to put you under house arrest again, and I don't want to do that. Please understand what I'm trying to do here. Menma, your father would have wanted you to become Hokage. Menma clenched his fist. My father is dead because of me. Anything he wanted is gone now, Tsunade, and I will never be Hokage, not for this village, never in a million years, so forget it now. What's my punishment? Tsunade rubbed her head. Menma, you must give up being Wolf Alpha forever. Fang growled. Menma calmed Fang. That's not possible. I can't. Once an alpha has been decided, it can't unhappen. I would have to be defeated by another male, and you know I'm stronger than that. Tsunade stood up and paced the room. Menma, then you will have to give up having Fang or be put in prison. You can't go around threatening people with a pack of wolves. Menma relaxed his hands. Then put me in prison. Sasuke burst through the door. Wait, we can exile him from the pack. Tsunade looked at Sasuke. Would that take away his position as alpha? Sasuke nodded. Yes, he will never be able to join the pack again. Tsunade, do this and you're taking away any chance of the person Menma was from coming back, and you know what happened last time. Just tighten his bandages and make it so kid can't speak. Tsunade nodded. Then we will take away his voice, but this can't ever happen again. Sasuke started walking out the door. Tsunade looked at Sasuke. Where do you think you're going? You have to help me with this new alpha. Sasuke walked behind Menma. Sorry, he whispered. Tsunade removed Menma's mask. She put a symbol over Menma's mouth. The symbol disappeared. Tsunade put Menma's mask back on him. Sasuke, you need to make sure that he can't communicate with anyone. Stay by his side for the rest of the day. Sasuke nodded. Menma got up from his seat and went to the door. He turned and looked at Tsunade. A tear fell from Fang's eye. They walked out. Sasuke walked behind them down the hall back to class. They came through the door. Everyone stopped and looked at them. Menma and Sasuke sat at the front of the class. Everyone was whispering something to each other. Kurenai walked up to Menma and Sasuke. I hope you learned your lesson. Creatures are made to be weapons. That includes animals. What, not going to say anything, smart mouth? Sasuke covered Menma's mouth. He can't speak, sensei. Kurenai gave Menma a cold glare. See me after class, both of you. After class, Menma and Sasuke were standing in front of Kurenai at her desk. Kurenai brushed some of her hair back. Menma, you behave worse than the Nine Tails. Sasuke moved to attack Kurenai, but Menma put his arm out, stopping him. A tear fell from Fang's eye. Kurenai continued, Menma, I don't see how a boy like you could be a controller of such a monster of a wild animal. I don't ever want to see it in my class ever again. Got it? And Sasuke, you are my prized student. Why are you acting like this? Another tear fell from Fang's eye when Kurenai said monster. Sasuke noticed that Fang had tears falling from her eyes. Sasuke looked Kurenai in the eyes. If the wolf is attached to a person's soul, would the wolf feel the owner's emotions? Kurenai tilted her head. Well, yes, the wolf would feel the owner's emotions. And speaking of wolf, Menma, I don't want you pulling that stunt prank thing what you just did ever again. Got it? Now both of you get to class. Menma turned around and left Fang following closely next to him. Sasuke and Killer followed them to gym. When they got there, Menma went to the back of the class and Sasuke went to the front, sitting next to his friends. Menma sat down up against the wall. Fang laid on Menma's lap, trying to comfort him. Menma wiped the tears from Fang's eyes. Fang licked Menma's hand. Menma petted Fang on the head. Sasuke turned around to look at them. Guy walked to the front of the class. Hello students, today is a sad day. IREACED news that my old sensei passed on today. It's sad, he was like a father to me. I will truly miss him. Now enough of that, let's get sparing. First up, any VOLENTIRES. Menma rose his hand. Guy looked around the room. Anyone at all. Sasuke rose his hand. Guy pointed at Sasuke. Sasuke, you're up. WHO, do you want to fight? Sasuke stood up and walked to the center of the gym. I want to fight Menma. Menma stood up and walked to the center of the gym. People started whispering rumors. Hey, did you hear? It's that monster Menma. Hey, did you hear he threatened Kurenai? What, really? Men, what a monster. No, wait, demons, probably a better word. Menma stood in front of Sasuke and got in his fighting stance. Another tear fell from Fang's eye. Sasuke put up his fists. He nodded at Menma to start. Menma kicked Sasuke in his left arm. Sasuke blocked it and swept his foot underneath Menma, trying to knock him off balance. Menma jumped, avoiding Sasuke's foot. Menma landed on all fours next to Fang, who had tears running down her face. Killer walked over to Fang. He nuzzled her. Fang pushed Killer away, trying to growl but couldn't. Menma punched Sasuke in the stomach, sending him flying into a wall. Sasuke got up. He ran back towards Menma and tried to land a punch but missed. Menma could feel a tear running down his face underneath his mask. Menma looked at Fang. Fang was crying quietly. She looked up at Menma. She nodded. Sasuke punched Menma in the face, making his mask come off. Menma was crying blood from underneath the bandages. A single tear ran down his face. Fang got in attacking position. She jumped on Killer, knocking him over. She bit his tail. Sasuke felt the pain in his lower back. He punched Menma again. Menma didn't fight back, he just let Sasuke hit him. Fang moved her head as if she got hit. She got off of Killer and went and stood next to Menma. Sasuke tilted his head. Why aren't you fighting back? Someone in the crowd. Loser, wimp, hit him again, Sasuke. Fang looked at Killer, tears in her eyes. She gave a signal with her ears that she's not going to fight anymore. Killer tilted his head. Sasuke punched Menma again. Menma didn't fight back, he just rose his hand, calling the match. Menma walked away. He passed the booing crowd to the back of the stands. Sasuke walked back to his seat. He turned around to look at Menma. Guy walked to the podium. Winner is Sasuke. Menma jumped the railing, landing on all fours. He took off running. He threw the doors open and ran out of the gym. The crowd was whispering again. Wow, someone couldn't take losing. What a weakling, I knew Sasuke would win. I hope the guy jumps off a bridge if he is that weak. Sasuke stood up and ran out the gym doors, chasing after Menma. Menma was running towards his house when he saw the park he used to play at every day. He stopped and sat on the swings. Sasuke finally found Menma. He went and sat next to him on the swings. Menma looked at the ground, not noticing that Sasuke was next to him. Sasuke put his hand on Menma's shoulder. He shook him. Hey, what happened? Why didn't you want to fight me? Menma shook his head, a bloody tear running down his face. Sasuke shook Menma again. Hey, is it what they said back there? Menma shook his head no. Sasuke was now concerned for his alpha. Menma, what is it? Tell me, I'll listen. Menma picked up a stick and started writing in the dirt. I don't know why I'm upset. I shouldn't be. Me emotions are sealed. This shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't be cry. I can feel one emotion. It should be anger, but it's not. It's sadness. I sealed them away so I wouldn't feel sadness. I remember everything. Everything I did. Everything the village did. I remember it all, but everyone else doesn't. No one knows what it is that I had to go through, and now I have to go through it again. You say you know who I really am, but do you really even know the real me? Do you know my past? Do you know how many things I've done to cause people pain? Do you know that everything that I cherished got ripped away from me because I am who I am? Sasuke was at a loss for word after reading what Menma wrote in the dirt. His mouth just hung open. Menma erased what he wrote with his foot. What you guys think is the really me is fake, just a mask to hide the true me underneath, and for some unknown reason that mask of mine is breaking, and it shouldn't be. I don't know if something triggered it to break or if someone said something that might have done something, but most of all I don't know. All I know is that everyone gets to live a happy life without thinking of the one person that helped them achieve it. No one thinks about the person that they hurt. No one thinks about how much they can really hurt someone until that someone goes off the deep end and kills themselves or someone. They might think that what they do is temporary, but it's not, and for some people it can kill them on the inside. Then that little ray of sunshine everyone saw is gone, destroyed, never to come back by. And the worst thing of all is when you start to believe what they say and you start belittling yourself, then someone comes along and says they will never leave, then they turn around and hurt you in ways no one else could, or they leave and you know it's all your fault. It's your fault for them leaving, it's your fault for breathing, it's your fault for being alive, when honestly you don't have a choice. People around you make the decision for you and you don't have any say in how your life turns out. You don't have any say in what you do. You don't get a choice. It's like they're saying you don't get a life. Menma started breathing heavily as tears started running down his face uncontrollably. Menma tried to open his mouth so he could get some more air into his lungs but couldn't open it. His mouth was sealed shut. Sasuke read the last part and felt like he had just been shot. He never knew what the people he picked on thought. Sasuke stood up and crouched in front of Menma. He faced him. Menma, would you show me who you really are? I want to help. Menma shook his head no. He stood up and walked to Fang. He petted her, then turned around. He pointed at Fang. Sasuke walked over to Fang. Would you please show me what he really looks like? Fang nodded and did a jutsu. Menma looked like his original self but more grown up. Sasuke walked to Menma looking at him like he saw a ghost. Naruto? Menma nodded. Fang undid the jutsu and Menma changed back to his newest appearance. Menma and Fang left the park and headed home. The whole way there Fang was getting angrier and angrier by the second. Menma shut everything out, not responding to the people who quickly ran to get out of Fang's way, calling them a monster, a demon, a creature out of a nightmare. When they finally arrived home, Menma didn't get off Fang. He just sat there on her back. Several minutes later he pointed to the forest that was behind his house. Fang understood. She started running into the forest at top speed. She didn't stop until she tripped over a tree root. She was blind with rage. She tried growling at everything she saw. Menma had mentally gone silent. He wasn't thinking, he wasn't talking to Fang, he wasn't doing anything. Fang could feel how depressed Menma was. Her seal on her emotions had broke. Menma's seal had disappeared. All he wanted to do now was die somewhere far away from everyone. Fang got up. She was lost. There was an old building. It was covered in vines and had cracks everywhere. It looked like a shrine or gravesite of some kind. Fang approached it carefully. As she got closer, she saw that it was a grave and there were 2 names on it. The grave looked familiar, like she had seen it before. Finally, when she was right in front of it, she could see what was written. It read, "Here lays the saviors of Konoha, Ms. and Mr. Uzumaki." There was a dead rose on top of their gravestone. Menma got off of Fang's back. He walked over to the stone. He put his hand on it and a single tear fell. He got on his knees and broke down. All the pain and sorrow flooded him all at once. It was overwhelming. There was someone watching him. They were hidden in the trees. Fang turned around to look at them. She could sense them, but Menma couldn't. He just sat there on his knees staying quiet. The people that were watching them jumped out of the trees and landed beside Menma. They were from the Akatsuki. It was Itachi and Kisame. They were wearing their black robe with red clouds all over. Kisame had drawn his weapon. It was against Menma's throat. Itachi had his Mangekyo Sharingan ready. Itachi put Menma in a torture genjutsu. Menma didn't react. He didn't scream. He didn't cry. He didn't move or try to get out as Itachi stabbed him in the genjutsu over and over again. Menma didn't do anything. Itachi broke the genjutsu. He looked at Kisame. No reaction. Kisame moved his sword and placed it on Menma's chest. He slowly started cutting him, making sure not to go too deep, and still no reaction from Menma. Fang turned small like a puppy. She walked over to Menma and laid on his lap, looking at Itachi and Kisame. She wasn't scared. She hoped that they would put them out of their misery. She had a dead look in her eyes. Itachi and Kisame saw this. They saw the pain and anger in her eyes. Itachi took Menma's mask off. Seeing the bandages around his eyes, he slowly started undoing the bandages. When he undid the last ring around Menma's eyes, he could see the bloody tears that threatened to fall. Itachi shook Menma, grabbing him by the shoulder. "Hey boy." Menma didn't respond. The seal on his mouth appeared. Itachi and Kisame saw it. Itachi removed the seal since Kisame isn't good at sealing jutsus. When the seal was off, Kisame shook Menma. "Hey, aren't you afraid of us? Hey kid." Menma looked Itachi in the eyes. "Kill me please." A tear fell from Menma's eyes. Itachi was startled by Menma's plead. He bent down to look him in the face. Menma shed his cloak. He bared his neck, waiting for someone to kill him. Fang did one last jutsu. She made Menma look like his old self, the one everyone hated and feared. Itachi stood up. "Naruto, what have you gone through to make you want to die?" Menma hung his head in shame. "I'm not Naruto anymore. The Naruto you knew died when the village tried to turn him into a weapon," he whispered. Kisame took a step back, preparing to kill Menma. "If that is what you want, I'd be happy to rid you from this world." Itachi put his hand out, stopping Kisame. "Naruto, what is it that you feel right now?" Menma looked Itachi in the eyes. He pulled him into his mind. They were in a dark room. "You want to know what I feel right now? I feel nothing because that's all I ever was to this village. I have lost everything and it's all my fault." Itachi looked around, trying to find where Menma's voice was coming from. Itachi saw a light. He walked towards it. Suddenly everything around him changed. He was in a forest. There was fog everywhere. You could hardly see the trees. Itachi walked around in the foggy forest until he saw a giant post with someone chained to it. He walked towards the post. Getting closer, he could see that it was Naruto. He was covered in slashes and bruises. Itachi walked up to him. "But why is it you want to truly die, Naruto? Why do you want to leave this world? Come with us, join the people who society considers monsters." Naruto looked up at Itachi. "Because this world is the reason I want to die. I want to die because everything I've done in this world has come back to haunt me, and it's all because I'm alive that people do what they do. From the second I was born, I was in hell." Menma took Itachi out of the genjutsu. Itachi stumbled back, landing on his butt. Kisame laughed. "Why did you fall? Is this monster too scary for you?" Itachi, "Ooh, I'm a big scary monster. Ooh, he's just a brat." Itachi gave Kisame a fierce look. "He is not a monster, and we are taking him with us, understand?" Kisame nodded. Menma stood up, holding Fang in his arms. He turned around and put his mask back on. He tore the bandages off his hands and arms. He did the appearance jutsu, making him look like he was the most evil thing in the world. Fang's appearance changed as well. She no longer had her beautiful plain black fur. It had changed to a coal black, with the tip of her tail as red as blood. Her eyes had an evil look to them. Menma's chest started healing. He wipes away his bloody tears. "Are we ready to go? I'm waiting." Everything that could break has Menma is now as cold as ice to the touch. His heart had shut down now. All he couldn't feel a thing, no pain, no emotions, no love, no hatred, no nothing. His voice had a cold feel to it. Itachi walked next to Menma and put his hand on his shoulder, handing him an Akatsuki robe. What shall we call you now since you said Naruto is dead? Menma took the robe and put it on, making sure the hood was up. Call me Menma. Itachi, Menma, Fang and Kisame left and went to the Akatsuki hideout. When they arrived, Itachi and Kisame walked through the doors first, Menma following behind them, still holding Fang, who was still the size of a puppy. Everyone stared at them confused. One of the people walked up to Itachi. Looks like you're getting soft. Itachi, you know that Pain won't like this. Itachi gave the guy a cold stare. Shut up, Deidara. Deidara stepped back to look at Menma, examining him. Why does he have a mutt with him? What is it, his favorite fashion accessory? Menma put Fang down. She grew bigger than Deidara. She towered over him. Her eyes had made him freeze. Menma patted her side. Heel, Fang. His voice was so cold it cut right through you. Deidara stepped away scared. Itachi turned around to look at them. Come. Menma listened and followed Itachi. They walked to an office-looking room. Kisame walked away. Itachi opened the door and led Menma in. There was a man sitting at a desk. His feet were crossed, and on the desk the man was talking to a woman. She had blue, almost lavender hair. She had an annoyed look on her face. The man sitting had red, spiky hair. Itachi walked in and stood in front of the desk. Menma stood at the door holding Fang. She had gotten smaller again. Itachi looked the man in the eyes. Pain, I want you to meet our new member, Menma. Pain looked past Itachi, seeing Menma. What's with the puppy and why is he here? I don't remember asking for any more members, Itachi. Itachi looked at Menma. Like I said, this is Menma, the holder of the Kaibui, and that is no puppy. She is a Ketsueki Okami or blood wolf. You should understand the history behind those. Pain nodded. He can join, but that doesn't look like a Ketsueki Okami. It's to tame and it's not as big. Menma gave an icy cold laugh. Oh, she's a Ketsueki Okami, all right. She is just under a jutsu right now. Pain stood up and walked around his desk. Prove it. Menma turned around and walked out of the office into the large living area. He put Fang down, petting her before he stepped back. Menma turned to face Pain and all the Akatsuki who had gathered to see what the commotion was about. Menma did a hand sign and Fang grew to her original size. Fang barked, which made the ground shake. Menma put his hand up to Fang, who crouched down. Menma walked over her head and sat on her back. Fang stood up again. Everyone was in awe. Pain stepped forward. Have you tried that one jutsu with her yet? Menma took his mask off and pulled his hood back. He looked down at Pain. Yes, and it was successful. Pain inched closer to them. Show me, but all the way. Menma smirked. He did the hand sign. Everything started shaking. Fang and Menma merged bodies. A red chakra cloak formed and 8 tails formed. Fang lifted her paw up and put it down. It created a huge crater. Everyone jumped back to get away from the shock wave. Fang's body started to get a fox-like look to it. She growled, which sent a giant shock wave, knocking everyone on their butts. A few rocks fell from the ceiling. Fang's shadow was the 9-tailed fox's shadow. It looked the same. Pain stood up. Okay, I believe you. Now come out of it. The chakra cloak started disappearing, so did the 8 tails. Menma's body reappeared. He was now sitting on Fang's back. He looked down at everyone. They were all astonished at what they had just seen. Menma patted Fang's side. She got smaller, to the size of a puppy. Menma put his mask back on, hiding his face. One of the Akatsuki ran up to Menma. It's a puppy. Aw, I want to pet it. Can I? She looks so pretty. Menma helped Fang out for the member to pet. What's your name? The member started petting Fang, squealing and making baby faces at Fang. I'm Toby, I'm a good boy. Fang growled. She didn't like being petted. Toby stopped petting her and backed away when Fang growled. She's so pretty. Can I take the puppy for a walk? Can I please? Menma put Fang on the ground. No, she'll kill you. Toby made a pouty face. Please, I'll be careful, please. Menma shook his head. No, she's mad already. She doesn't like being petted by people other than me. Deidara walked over looking at Fang. That's one tough dog. Fang growled at Deidara, getting ready to bite him. Menma shook his head. She's not a dog, and Toby knows she will kill you now. Menma's voice got colder and more evil. Leave me and Fang alone. Toby and Deidara shuddered at the last part. Menma was so unexpectedly cold to them. Menma walked over to Pain, Fang following closely behind him. Menma stood in front of him. So am I in or not? Pain gulped. You're in, but keep your wolf under control. She can go killing Toby. Sadly, we need him. Menma nodded. I'll try, but she doesn't like people touching or petting her. Pain understood. Okay, now we will need to get you a place to stay. You can stay here, but we will have to find you a room. We can put you next to Toby since no one is in that room. Menma nodded. Okay, but what about Fang? She stays with me where I go, she goes. Pain started walking. Follow me, I'll show you. They walked down a hallway. The wallpaper was a depressing yellow color. The doors were a dark oak with silver door knobs. The lights were a bright fluorescent color. The hallway had lots of doors and rooms. Finally they arrived at one room. Its scratch marks all over the outside of it. Pain opened the door, letting Menma walk in and get comfortable. Menma walked in the room. It was dark and gloomy. He turned on the light switch. The light came on, but it wasn't much of a difference. Menma walked around. There was a desk next to the bed and a bookshelf by the door. It had a few books on it. The bed was a twin bed. It had two pillows, a blanket folded up at the end of it, white sheets. The desk had a computer on it which looked like it hadn't been touched for years. The closet was a walk-in one. It was filled with Akatsuki robes and other apparel such as shoes, shirts, and other things. There was a bathroom. It had a shower, a toilet, and a mirror above the sink which had a crack in it. Menma walked around checking out his room, then moved back towards his bed. Menma sat on the bed. So now what? Pain stood in the doorway. Now settle in and tomorrow you will be doing a mission. Pain left. Menma laid down on his back, sighing loudly. Fang jumped up on the bed, curling up next to Menma. Menma got up and walked to the bookcase and started looking at all the books. Toby burst through the door. Menma-chan, come, it's time to eat food. Come on, time to eat, we are having ramen, come on. Toby grabbed Menma by the hand and started dragging him. Fang started barking like crazy. She didn't like that Menma was being dragged away. Menma shook his hand free from Toby and just followed him to the kitchen, not wanting to eat anything. Fang chased off after Menma, barking at Toby. Menma picked up Fang, quieting her down. When they arrived, everyone looked at Menma and then went back to eating. Menma got in line behind Toby. Finally it was Menma's turn. He walked up to the counter. Conan handed him a bowl of ramen and a bowl of meat parts. Menma looked at the two bowls. Why did you give me two? Conan shook her head. One is for you and one is for your wolf. Menma nodded. Thank, it looks good. He walked away and sat down at a table all by himself. Where they were eating looked like a cafeteria. Itachi sat down across from Menma. Itachi smiled. Hello Menma, how do you like it here so far? Menma put Fang's bowl of food on the ground for her to eat it. He started eating his. It's fine, I guess. Itachi started eating his ramen. Well, that's good then. Who are you paired up with? Menma shrugged. Don't know. Pain walks over to Menma and Itachi. Menma, I realized that you need a partner. Why don't you pick someone? Menma looked around. I pick Fang. Pain looked at him curious. You have to have a human partner. Menma looked at Fang. But I'm not human and I don't work well with others. Pain shrugged his shoulders and walked away. Menma continued eating. When he finished, he walked to where you're supposed to put your dishes. He put them down. He saw that Conan was doing them all by herself. Menma walked through the door to the kitchen. Menma stood next to Conan. Do you want some help? Conan jumped. Menma had startled her. Yes please, thank you. Menma started helping Conan with the dishes. So you have to do this all by yourself every day? Conan nodded. Yep, and cook and clean up their messes. It's hard work. Menma took the dishes she was doing. I'll do the rest, you should take a break. Conan looked at Menma. She smiled. Thank you Menma. She left. Menma finished doing the dishes. After he finished, he went back to his room and sat at his desk, turning on the computer. The screen lit up. Menma logged in. He started searching the internet for ways to bring the dead back to life. Finally he found something on it. The article said that Orochimaru was the first person to successfully bring someone back from the dead. Menma turned the computer off and laid down in bed, closing his eyes and falling asleep. He woke up the next morning to Toby watching him. Menma sat up and looked at Toby. What are you doing in my room? Toby stood up. Oh, Pain said for me to tell you that he wants you to get ready cause me and you are going on a mission. Menma rubbed his eyes and got out of bed. What's the mission about? Toby jumped up and down, clapping his hands. We are going to be attacking Konoha, you Pain and Conan, it will be fun. Menma walked to the bathroom, shutting the door. Okay Toby, would you please leave, I'll come when I'm ready. Toby left. Menma took a shower and got dressed. He grabbed Fang and headed to Pain's office. He opened the door and walked in. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.